noon, and night. The UNC, she continued, wished the population would forget about its last stint in government. The poor performance by the UNC was characterized by a 71% increase in food prices from 2010 to 2015. Gopi Skun said this happened during a period when there was no war, pandemic or supply chain disruptions. It was a time of plenty, where oil prices were above $100 a barrel, and yet still the UNC government did nothing to advance agriculture and food production in Trinidad and Tobago, or significantly boost manufacturing. With inflation recorded at 0.3% in July, Gopi Skun said under the UNC that figure was 8.5% in 2014 and 5.5% in 2015. Referring to opposition leader Kamla Prasad Bisesar's budget reply on October 4, Gopi Skun said it was clear she is willing to accept that the private sector is performing better under the PNM than under the UNC. In 2015, she continued, non-energy manufacturing exports were $15.2 billion. While the level of those exports fell to $9.6 billion in 2016, primarily due to the closure of the ArcelorMittal steel plant, Gopi Skun said they rose afterwards. Between the period 2016 to 2023, non-energy manufacturing exports grew by $3.7 billion, from $9.6 to $13.3 billion. Gopi Skun said non-manufacturing exports to other, Lennox Smith TCT, the ground report on corridor transformation 8th. Lennox Smith TCT, the ground report on corridor transformation 8th. Oct 2024. Gopi Skun, government keeping food prices down. Clint Chantak. 13 hours ago, Minister of Trade and Industry Paula Gopi Skun gives a feature address at the private sector opportunities in the Special Economic Zone session and panel discussion at TT Chamber Building, West Moorings on September 19. Photo by Gabriel Williams. Trade and Industry Minister Paula Gopi Skun says government has been working consistently over the last 9 years to ensure citizens can continue to buy basic food items at affordable prices. In contrast, she said, the UNC did the exact opposite when it was in office from 2010 to 2015. Gopi Skun was speaking in the 2024/2025 budget debate in the House of Representatives on October 7. She rejected repeated UNC claims that government has done nothing to make basic food affordable. Even in a period of declining revenues, since 2015, every year the government has gotten a suspension of the set, common external tariff, on a number of basic food items, including canned corned beef, sardines and tuna, cheddar cheese, canned tuna, black tea, canned sardines and pharmaceuticals, with revenue foregone of over $1 billion, making these goods cheaper and providing savings to all consumers. She reminded MPs discussions about the set occur at the level of CARICOM's Council for Trade and Development, which deliberates on the tariffs on different commodities entering the region. Gopi Skun identified vegetable/soybean oil, olive oil, peanut butter, black pepper, cereal, condensed milk, instant coffee, and ground coffee as other basics from which value-added tax, VAT, has been removed to make them affordable. She said the UNC continues to hoodwink the population that it removed VAT on 7,000 basic food items while it was in government. She said information from the ministry showed these items were luxuries and not basic foods. The VAT-exempt list is principally designed to support the poor and the vulnerable in society. It was not meant to buffer those with greater purchasing power. Shopping cart filled with essential food items at a grocery store in Port of Spain. File photo by Faith Ayung. Government MPs thumped their desks when Gopi Skun said, as a result, this government sought to bring the VAT-exempt list back to its original moorings by removing luxury food items such as dates, artichokes, and maraschino cherries. In response to inaudible comments from some UNC MPs, she added that maraschino cherries were frequently bought by certain people who enjoy having cocktails, morning, noon, and night. The UNC, she continued, wished the population would forget about its last stint in government. The poor performance by the UNC was characterized by a 71% increase in food prices from 2010 to 2015. Gopi Skun said this happened during a period when there was no war, pandemic or supply chain disruptions. It was a time of plenty, where oil prices were above $100 a barrel, and yet still the UNC government did nothing to advance agriculture and food production in Trinidad and Tobago, or significantly boost manufacturing. With inflation recorded at 0.3% in July, Gopi said under the UNC that figure was 8.5% in 2014 and 5.5% in 2015. Referring to opposition leader
with all this money in town. My Lord, the hills are alive in a different way. You have to do that for the people. Let our wages to these we struggle, yeah. But we rise again, come what may. In this abundance of wealth, still the poor people cannot cope. Oh, my Trinidad. It is a stark reality. So much of even a fool. Oh my Trinidad. Oh my Trinidad. Oh my, oh no. Some turn to vagrants in the city. Homeless children begging of mercy, Lord. Child abuse has risen again. Looks like Jean and Dinah come back in tongue. The girls and them singing the song. To survive by any means necessary, dignity gone down the jail. Some say the leaders have failed to do right for one and for all when there is an imbalance of this.
Oh, you hear that? Some say the leaders have failed to do right for one and for all. Where there is an imbalance on the scale. Only divine intervention. What do you mean?
The hills are alive in the fish. This my chef, come one day, yeah.
The ground report with Mikey K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
No.
Oh boy. Well, I hope yours truly the Pitbull Out Radio was missed yesterday. Very important engagement to put in place.
I will be done.
What's on your front burner this morning? It's supposed to make news that not making news. Did you feel the original first tune? Boy, I also see my boy Jeffrey calling. You know, songs he calling. I want to make sure hear what's up with my brother. Yes, I want to hear what's up with my brother.
Journey of people for war. Bang.
The ground report with Mikey K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Oh boy. I heard you calling me early. Oh boy.
Explain them who you are and the specifics of your call.
Thank you.
Nice. Morning, my brother. I see you calling me early. So I say, well, boy, I don't call you first.
That's the call back. But Andy,
Talk to me.
the program doesn't get no audio on it. You know, you think have to be sung and good. You can't look at kind of way outside it. No, they the number one program in the morning.
When this morning, yeah?
You watch it. Yeah. No, well, I see you fix it. Afterwards.
Okay.
We wasn't getting no audio when it now start now.
All right.
But the next thing to Andy, before I think I want to use this opportunity to tell you that
Yes.
we went last night in Princeton with the village in the vigil with the youth man who would have succumbed to the bullying in the school boy. And we would have had some videos from where Barry Padarat would have talk and Philip would have talk and it was a wonderful display of unity and matter of fact. I don't know what you think with the program this month, but I could send the two videos to your phone.
So long on link though, and how long it is?
The video about 3 minutes. 3 minutes to talk. 3 minutes.
All right, that ain't bad. But with no link. Send it the WhatsApp.
Right, with no link.
Yeah, because I walked to take off the link in order for me to get it.
Yeah. I was telling you that. All right, a good program as usual, Andy. You go talk.
All right, no problem, my brother.
Family friend of slain Matlow man. Stop being
Oh
selfish.
boy, Primrose,
Find
good morning
God.
to you. Honey Fadli
Enrique
Mohammed, good
Rupert,
morning.
15 hours
Davey,
ago.
Macano, good morning to you, to
Francois was shot dead on
Macano.
October 3rd
Hey,
near his Matlow home. Kwesi Francois was shot dead on October 3rd near his Matlow home. A family friend of Matlow murder victim Kwesi Francois has told the nation to stop its selfish ways and to seek God, as she believes this is a main reason for the high level of crime plaguing the country. Francois, 41, was shot dead on October 3rd, minutes after leaving home to go to a nearby shop. Reports said he was watching television with his family around 6:25 p.m. when his son returned from the shop and gave him some money. Francois got up and left home to go to the shop himself. Minutes later, his family heard gunshots nearby and found Francois bleeding on the ground roughly 100 meters away. He died at the scene. Francois' wife was visibly distraught after viewing his body at the Forensic Science Center, St. James, on October 7th. A family friend, however, spoke to the media on condition of anonymity. She said Francois was a family-oriented, peaceful, and loving man. He loved his family dearly. He lived for them, his wife and 2 children. He also had a lot of friends and people who loved him. He's somebody who would go out their way to help another person. She said while Francois' life was taken away by rogue elements, his memory will live on. What some don't understand in life is, when someone instills goodness in somebody else, they may not be here physically, so the enemy may think they are not here anymore, but they really are, and they tend to shine even more. God is not sleeping. Sometimes we feel justice may not prevail right away, but there is a God, and He is real, and He is not sleeping. The family friend said Francois' 2 teenage children were not coping well with their father's death. She highlighted Francois' love for them and said he would be proud of them for their progress in life. His 2 children are excelling in the Matlow community. His son recently got an award for essay writing and he'll be writing exams soon. She said Francois was a jack of all trades, but identified as a fisherman. He did whatever he could to ensure his wife and children eats. She summed up with 2 adjectives, horrible and terrible, and said people needed to be less selfish and to remember God. This isn't about religion. God is not coming for religion. He's coming for a man's heart and the relationship he has with God. We have the spiritual solution, and then we have the politics part, and the other things like the police who also need support. Francois was the 2nd person to be killed in the usually peaceful area in 3 weeks. Dwayne Bling Dog Marshall, 34, of Cemetery Street, Matlow, was found dead at the foot of a 35-foot precipice near his house on September 19th. His mother was awoken by gunshots around 4 a.m., but went back to sleep. 3 hours later, while she was at work, her 2 other sons found Marshall's body lying near Cemetery Street. Police found one live 5.56 round, the same caliber used to kill Francois, on October 3rd.
Big Ram,
Ferguson
good morning
tries
to you.
again
Where
to
Rusty
avoid
Nail?
revealing assets to state. Jada Lutu 15 hours ago. Steve Ferguson. Steve Ferguson. Businessman Steve Ferguson is again seeking to stop the state from demanding information from him and now his attorneys as it seeks to enforce a $131 million judgment against him in Miami. Ferguson filed the emergency application for an injunction on September 27th. It was previously assigned to Justice Eleanor Donaldson Honeywell. She was made a judge of the Court of Appeal on the same day the application was filed, so it was reassigned to Justice Frank C. Prasad. At a hearing on October 7th, Douglas Mendez, SC, asked for an adjournment. He leads a team for the state. Mendez said when the proceedings were filed, they were served on the Solicitor General's Department of the Office of the Attorney General, but because of the AG's conflict of interest, it was reassigned to former AG Faris Al-Rawi and would have had to be passed on to him. AG Reginald Armour was involved in the Miami matter as an attorney for another defendant, former Finance Minister Brian K. Tung, and was disqualified by the Miami court. Mendez also said the application was similar to another filed by Ferguson, so they did not appreciate they were separate proceedings. However, he said the new application was also doomed to fail and seeks to interfere in proceedings in a foreign court. Ferguson has complained that the state is pursuing aggressive measures to enforce the 2023 Miami judgment against him and 2 others, including making demands for the production of documents, information, and the taking of depositions. In May, he filed a similar application which Justice Nadia Kangaloo dismissed in a constitutional complaint. She is still presiding over that matter, but Ferguson has asked for her to recuse herself. She is expected to give a ruling and make a statement in that application at the end of October. However, Ferguson intends to have the 2 complaints joined. Mendez said in the other matter, Ferguson had already tried to stop the enforcement proceedings in Miami, and the state gave an undertaking not to execute judgment pending the hearing of that constitutional claim. He said that undertaking did not prevent the state from taking available steps in preparation for execution and discovery. In other words, all of the other steps that one could take under Miami law would be taken, but there would not be execution. So in these proceedings, it occurs to me that we have to make the point immediately that this is an abuse of the process of the court. Certainly, this issue has already been determined by Justice Kangaloo, and there is no appeal. But first of all, we want to put before you the necessary evidence. C. Prasad has adjourned the matter to October 14th. In the latest complaint, Ferguson said the state is demanding information from his attorneys about legal fees to 2 King's Counsel, his senior counsel in Trinidad and Tobago, and other attorneys. He has until October 24th to do so. He says if he declines to submit to a deposition, he is liable to be held in contempt of court and have his appeal of the 2023 judgment rejected. Ferguson's application said on August 26, 2024, the state issued writs of garnishment, a process by which the court orders the seizure or attachment of the property of a defendant or judgment debtor in the possession or control of a third party, on various attorneys and law firms seeking to recover any funds held for him by them. A series of subpoenas for video depositions were also issued to the lawyers and law firms who were told to produce various documents, including those related to payments between the attorneys and Ferguson, payments between attorneys and anyone acting on his behalf, and payments in connection with attorneys who have represented him in the Miami matter, including his TT attorneys. The application said the Florida-based attorneys have provided limited responses and are in the process of seeking a compromise. However, it noted that if no agreement could be reached, they would seek a protective order to shield them from providing more information or sitting for depositions. An attorney in Miami, who represented Ferguson more than a decade, has sought such an order. If they're denied, They would need to comply to avoid being sanctioned or found in contempt. Ferguson was given until September 30th to respond to the requests. He sought a 3-week extension to respond. I have not complied with these requests, and at the time of writing the RTT, Republic of TT, has taken no further steps to enforce them. However, if they are not prevented from doing so, the RTT's attorneys may seek a court order to compel me to comply with the RTT's demands, he said in an affidavit in support of his application.
I know
Ferguson
that
said he had been
a couple of
advised that
people
should the
waiting
state
for me.
proceed, it would violate his
That's
right
somebody
to
that
due
don't want to send,
process of
don't want
law
to
and
organize it,
protection of the law and his right to
Western
a
Union,
fair
because they don't
hearing.
like to
The
pay
state has
extra
also
money.
sought to
Listen.
depose Ferguson's children. In March, Ferguson failed to get the Miami court to block the disclosure of his assets as the state seeks to enforce a multi-million-dollar U.S. racketeering influenced and corrupt organizations, RICO, case judgment to recover $131 million U.S. dollars arising out of the Piarco International Airport expansion project decades ago. Ferguson has refused to provide his financial information in the U.S. proceedings. He has objected to almost every question or request by asserting his right to avoid self-incrimination under the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. He also complained that requiring him to disclose his assets would infringe his right not to incriminate himself in criminal proceedings against him in the U.S. and TT. In his other high court claim, Ferguson contends that the institution of the Miami civil case against him violated his rights to due process and protection of the law. His lawsuit also complained of the evidence admitted in the case in Miami and contended it was another attempt by the state to harass him and his family. It also said the decision to institute the foreign proceedings was unfair given the various prosecutions in the TT courts. On May 15, 2023, Miami District Court Judge Riamberto Diaz entered final judgment for TT in the racketeering case against Ferguson, former UNC Minister Brian K. Tung, and U.S. businessman Raul Gutierrez Jr. for $131,318,840 U.S. dollars and 47 cents. The final judgment followed a jury's verdict in March 2023, which led to TT getting triple the damages it sought under RICO law. The Miami jury found Ferguson liable for multiple claims arising from the fraud linked to the redevelopment of the Piarco International Airport in the late 1990s and early 2000s. K. Tung, a former Minister of Finance under the Bastio Ponde administration, and Gutierrez, the former principal of Calmaquip Engineering Corporation, which provided specialized equipment at the airport, were previously held liable in the racketeering case. Ferguson has appealed the Florida court's judgment, and on May 6th, the 3rd District Court of Appeal lifted an earlier stay it granted, clearing the way for the case to continue before Diaz. Ferguson is represented by Edward Fitzgerald, K.C., Joseph Middleton, K.C., Fiard Hossein, S.C., Adam Hossein, and Annette Mancham. Also representing the state are Simon de la Bastide, S.C., and Clay Hackett.
Hey, Apache, lock on. Oh, and Andy Lennox, Apache. You know how long I ain't get to hear that name, Apache boy. Ivy boy, you know. Ganesh Prasad, good morning too, man. Hey, Williams, his family, good morning to you. Yeah, man, yeah, man. Alan Hercules, good morning, man. Selwyn Batiste. Hey, good morning to you. Trevor. Yeah, right, Trevor Ramkasoon, man. Good morning, good morning. Hey, Bujam John, you know, look on what? Good morning. Go sign, good morning. Nice, nice, nice. Ramroop, good morning. Ragunanan, good morning to you. Rajendra Maharaj, a pleasant good morning. Anne Brown, good morning. Yeah, Christian Reyes, all of you, all of you, all of you. what you all have installed for this morning's program. What voice note you send? What's on your front burner? What's supposed to make news that not making news? All you tell me now. Tell me now. Job, good morning. Sir Drew, good morning. Vida Cyril, good morning. Brian. Yeah, Brian. Ramdu, good morning. Brian say, wash hands. Have you had the same this morning? Oh God, Hanifa D. Mohammed say, well, Andy Pitbull, it has 105 murders. Oh God, I will let it tell me. Marky Thunderboom say, great is the UNC. All the world had to say this morning. Let me go on let me try one time the voice note. Let me see what I see it this morning.
Statistics show Cal pilots lowest paid in region.
What you all
Ryan Hamilton Davis yesterday. Caribbean Airlines pilots, who are members of the TT Airline Pilots Association, TALPA, protest at Piarco International Airport on October 3rd over outstanding wage negotiations. File photo. Caribbean Airlines pilots, who are members of the TT Airline Pilots Association, TALPA, protest at Piarco International Airport on October 3rd over outstanding wage negotiations. File photo. Comparative wages shared exclusively with Newsday by the TT Airline Pilot Association, TALPA, revealed that Caribbean Airlines Ltd. CAL pilots are among some of the lowest paid pilots in the region, only being paid more than pilots in the Bahamas. Pilots continue their plea to settle wage negotiations with CAL and have asked for a 4% wage increase for the period 2015 to 2020. On October 3rd, they highlighted issues affecting them in a picket at the Piarco International Airport. The statistics showed a CAL captain's salary is, on average, a little over half the salary of a captain employed with Southwest Airways. The data revealed CAL jet captains receive 42.41% of the wages of a Southwest captain, meaning Southwest captain salaries are 57.59% higher. A first officer with CAL will receive 34.11% of the average salary of a first officer with Southwest, meaning Southwest first officer salaries are 65.89% higher than that of a CAL first officer. CAL captains receive only 49.22% of a United Airlines captain's salary, meaning they are paid more than 50% less than a UA captain. A first officer in CAL is paid 59.17% less than a first officer at UA, receiving 40.83% of a UA first officer's salary. CAL captains are paid 90.72% of a Cayman Airlines jet captain, meaning Cayman Islands captains are paid 9% more than CAL captains. First officers in Cayman Airlines are paid 33.59% more than a CAL first officer, who receives 66.41% of a Cayman Airlines first officer salary. That means that if a Cayman Islands jet captain gets paid $1, a CAL captain will get paid 90 cents, TALPA Industrial Relations consultant Timothy Bailey explained to Newsday. The only airline with a comparatively lower wage is Bahamas Airways. A CAL jet captain gets 113.58% of the pay of a Bahamas Airways jet captain, and a first officer gets 106.58% of a Bahamas Airways first officer. This means that wherever a Bahamas Airways captain gets paid $1, a CAL captain will be paid $1.13, and wherever a Bahamas Airways captain gets $1, a CAL first officer will be paid $1.06. Further data revealed that a Southwest Airlines captain's salary ranges from $127,664.81 to $141,732 a month, While a Southwest Airlines first officer is paid from $44,683.20 to $99,215.58. UA captains are paid in a range from $123,381.76 to $132,394.92, while a first officer is paid in a range from $43,326.23 to $90,150.27. A Cayman Islands jet captain is paid in a range from $63 to $23.50-73. 336.38 and first officers a range from $24,509.70 to $52,856.88. Retired Civil Aviation Authority President Ramesh Lachmedial said pilot salaries are based on several factors, the most important being the level of responsibility. Pilots have the responsibility of the safety of all the passengers on the aircraft. The pilot must possess the requisite skills and competencies to fly an aircraft from point A to point B safely. Flying requires tremendous skill and discipline, he said. He said pilots' salaries also depend on the aircraft they fly. Captains of larger, more complicated aircraft would get a higher salary than someone flying a smaller plane. He also said pilots' salaries are also determined on the cost of living in his or her country. You cannot just compare pilot salaries, he said. If you pay $5 for a can of Coca-Cola here, you may pay $1.50 for that same can in the US. It is all pegged on the cost of living. I remember a long time ago BWI pilots used to say an Air France pilot, flying the same plane that he is flying, was getting twice his salary. But that is because of the cost of living in France. It is very expensive to live in Europe, France in particular. He suggested delinking pilots' salaries from those of other public servants. But Bailey said all these factors were taken into consideration during negotiations between CAL pilots and management. During negotiations, the airline offered a 7.5% pay increase for the negotiation period 2015 to 2020, along with a change from monthly to an hourly payment system. The breakdown of the payment increase was 0% for the first year, then 2.5%, 2.5%, 2.5%, then 0% for the period. The pilots resisted and Talpa presented a counter-proposal of 0%, 4%, 4%, 4%, and 1% for the bargaining period. It then reduced its counteroffer to 0%, 3%, 3%, 3%, and 1%. Last year, negotiations broke down, leading to 93 pilots calling in sick between August 18th and 20th, which caused the cancellation of 60 flights and cost the company an estimated $15 million. CAL was granted a court injunction on August 21st instructing Talpa to direct workers to immediately report for duty, despite the unions denying that industrial action took place. During that time, CAL asked for an extension of the negotiation period to find a way to settle the issue. Minister of Labour Stephen McClashy confirmed this with Newsday on October 6 and said the extension expires in November. CAL submitted a proposal to Minister of Finance Colm Imbert to settle negotiations with Talpa in August. Newsday understands that despite follow-ups and reminders, no response from the ministry has been forthcoming. Newsday contacted Minister in the Ministry of Finance Brian Manning. While he did not have a comment, he told Newsday the minister will make a statement on the matter soon.
Need somebody to strong, you know, where at least Iran and all, you see everybody looking to kick up storm out there. And I find like the Democrats they ain't showing. I out all the bacchanal Democrat bacchanal thing, but all ain't showing strength at all. All the frontliners, Kamala Harris thing and listening to she and the accent she body war in Ukraine and thing, and I listening to her and everything for her is a kind of smile thing. However, compare, remember image and perception and how people will play a long role. And I telling you, the world do not respect Biden. Them radical countries do not respect Kamala Harris. But I'm sure China don't respect none of them there neither. That Chinese man there, will look how China get more and more powerful. But I'm sure if there's one person, all of them are respect for. Whether he mouth dirty, my good friend Santa Cruz, they say that he have a dirty mouth like Rowley. But them respect you out there. You ain't see how Yakin Nahu, we call him the Israel Prime Minister. Benjamin Yahu, Lennox Smith, you're there, I hear in your background, you wouldn't self come in and help me to know, well, I don't understand what's going on with all of these days, you know. I can't understand why I still...
Netanyahu, all right, my friend, go ahead.
Netanyahu, right. Because still, I can't understand. We change the game. I still have to be putting up picture of you and Mikey on the screen. When all you have video that are supposed to be pointing up all here, I supposed to be seeing all here. The people supposed to be seeing all here. I just talk straight, you know. You see like how, right, Yahoo, right. Let me go back to that dinner. Wait, tell me again.
Netanyahu.
Right. You ain't see how Lennox Smith with what going on there with our war there now in Lebanon. And it looked like Iran and them go end up in war and whatever. World War III look like it may start. Right? Because they call now on Muslim countries to join each other. You're now talking, man. You now showing yourself. That's why, you understand? That's why they say some people, I don't know, you just have to tell them something over and over. Watch him there now. Yeah. Look, all of a sudden now, like he catch fly, he button straight up to the neck now. But he ain't showing no chest again. Like fly drumstick. Yeah. Yes, my friend Lennox Smith, because I know pay on there. Let me make sure that you're on the right, you're on the screen there. Now let me take down these images here. Yeah, man. Bam. What's supposed to have them images there, man? It's supposed to be the real McCoy. Mikey thing there already, you know. Let me make sure there's like if you put a scene, you know, so they're gonna know. They're gonna know. Yeah, let me watch all the look Mikey thing here. See it in yellow? You know where there. But he's up and running. He's up and running. So let me just move that day one time back. Nice. Lennox Smith, while everybody coming here from Burner, I want to go with the geopolitics a little bit this morning based on the America, which is the most powerful country in the world. And honestly, what's going on in the geopolitics and the lack of respect that most of them radical countries in them have for this present democratic government in America, which includes, because we can't put it aside, which includes Kamala Harris as a vice president. She is still the vice president and have power. Which includes Biden and Kamala Harris there as a president. China, Iran, all those countries, Venezuela, everybody, the Chinese man, they in North Korea, none of them don't have no respect the laws for Russia. Because somehow America coming across weak because of its two leaders. It is what it is. Kamala Harris is second in command of America. Lennox Smith, am I lying or not?
No,
is it not coming across at this point in time as America being weak? Real weak.
Yeah,
globally.
You have a very valid point, and the politics in America as well has demonstrated that, because remember the Democrats versus the Republicans and vice versa. The Republicans have spared no opportunity to, of course, identify that, whether it be on the border issue with Mexico, whether it be, of course, in the humiliating withdrawal from Afghanistan. We remember that. And of course, Trump is saying that, listen, if he was there, Russia would have dared not enter their weaker neighbor, and we can go on and on. And I'm sure that the Americans, they have a decision to make, and I'm sure at the end of the day, the people will talk. They have already always been able to address the problem as they see it, pragmatic and otherwise. So it's not about sympathy for anybody, but it's about who could do the job. And I think that is where the politics and the decision.
Lennox Smith.
Yeah.
In the geopolitics, Lennox Smith,
Yeah.
I see with my own eyes, BBC, Al Jazeera, all of them, whereby the talk is President Biden is accusing Yahoo, Benjamin Yahoo, what you call him? Oh God, the Israel Prime Minister.
Well, say that rather than having
the Israel Prime Minister accusing him in trying to sway the American elections, which means Israel don't have confidence in Biden, no Harris, which means Israel have more confidence in Trump as a man might be able to stop this. Watch me. Russia will be glad if the next president is Harris, you know, here, Putin endorsing saying that.
Yeah, they have been accused, of course, of entering, like on the last occasion as well, but they burst on their average by supporting Trump, hoping that Trump would have been some kind of quasi puppet, but he turned out to be a very hardcore man, and of course he told of course the president of North Korea he has a bigger red button than him, so let him try to bluff his way to threaten nuclear war and utilize his nuclear weapons for anybody, including of course the United States. So yes, you're quite right. There's a very valid point there, and there's a deep concern as to the weakening of the Americans.
What about you? Do you believe too, just like me, that in the geopolitics, most of those radical countries or most of these countries out there have more real respect for America with Trump compared to the respect they have with these two Italians?
Yeah, it is clear. You see, and one of the problems with Biden is that he was caught fumbling too much physically. Yeah? I mean, look how much time he slipped going on to Air Force One, falling down. He can't remember certain things that would have just been told to him, or he ought to have been abreast of, and we can go on and on. Well, in fact, that is why his vice president ended up being the by default the nominee for the Democrats. And all of those are factors that are going to be playing in the decision that the Americans will have to make in the not too distant future as to who should be their president. I mean, I must say, I must bring it local as well. Of course, a far cry from what is happening in Trinidad. It is clear that Kamala Persad-Bissessar must be the next Prime Minister of Trinidad to be going to the UNC, of course, to take the reins of government, having regard to the betrayal and the incompetence and the impotence and the hardship that the Rowley administration unnecessarily have perpetrated on the people, quite apart from the corruption, nepotism, and cronyism that has become, of course, a mainstay of this administration. They are simply pathetic, and they have, of course, done enough to, of course, tell the Trinidad and Tobago population that they were and are unfit for government and should be jettisoned, and they should be, of course, taken their, not being given their marching papers, but taking their Baji bundle and, of course, getting the hell out of office. Andy? Andy? Yes, indeed. Andy? Just out of an abundance of caution, of course, people, these are topics that we have to, of necessity, because it is about threat to humankind and existence, quite apart from the threat of the environment.
I finish that talk one time, come with a front burner, the front burners, all of that. You there, Andy? Oh God, talk now. I'm going to just hot me.
You see, I am not certain if it is a technical problem
Go ahead.
where others are hearing you and I may not be hearing you. So you see, so I have to ask the question, and when I ask sufficiently, then I will act as I did by, of course, continuing to deal with the topic. I don't have
Mikey have headphones on his ears. You don't want to put a headphones on your ears. With the headphones on your ears, you will be hearing directly everybody. You will hear if you're hearing yourself and all. And if you ain't hearing yourself when you're talking with your headphone, then you're gonna know, well, hey, something wrong. So put the headphones in your ears now, man, and then unbutton back the issue.
I don't think that is the issue. I have been adequately supplied with the technology that would not have to the necessity, or should I say the option of using a headphone. But I will try that as well, out of an abundance of caution and consistent with your advice. But that being as it may, have we concluded the international discourse on geopolitics, or do we continue to treat it with the domestic situation, which of course is very telling, and I'm sure that those who are getting up to make their telephone calls, or as we speak, are engaging, of course, in providing some voicemails, would be focusing on. So let us get there. Still no promotion to ASP rank, as more cops complain. Well, yes, of course, that is assistant superintendent of police. The police service has found itself embroiled in only lawsuits after lawsuits. I don't know when it would end, but of course, is it a measure of a collapsing institution? Of course, and one has to look at the relationship between what is happening at the upper echelons of that organization, as far as those lawsuits are concerned, and some of the information emanating therefrom, and of course their performance on the ground, and of course the unacceptable level of murders and crime and criminality that is taking place in the country. So we await and see what is going to emerge out of that. But there's just one solution, because the common denominator is the Rowley administration. All the population has to do, and I think from their perspective is a very simple one. Rowley must call the date for the next elections, and then you simply vote them out of office, and that will be the first stage in the process of recovery and transformation for a better Trinidad and Tobago. After all, we must live better, we aspire to live better, and we must do all that is required in order to make sure that is manifested in more ways than one. MP Parry, of course, mourns 15-year-old's death. Well, of course, that is the young man that took his own life, claiming, of course, from the information that we have, that he was bullied to the extent that he felt that there was no reason to live. Of course, that is a very tragic development. UNC MP Parry sings a swan song in budget. Well, of course, he was indicating swan song simply means that's my last speech before some transformatory development takes place. You know, because in this case, I think what they're saying is that he will not have an opportunity to be in Parliament again. So therefore, the swan song terminology.
Who's saying that?
Parry. UNC MP Parry, Russian Parry, yeah. I made it.
So you know you've been.
Yeah, well, of course.
You know you've been in Parliament again.
Yeah, that's right.
So what about Ramley, all of them, or Ramley, everybody know they will be in Parliament again, well, and Haynes, all.
Yeah, I suppose so, yes. Because, of course, mention was made in that article of Ramley he too, and of course the other, what is considered to be dissidents, that of Charles, and we have as well the Manzanilla MP, and we have of course the, is it this girl, what's his name,
Anita Haynes?
Anita Haynes, that's right, yes. So those are the five elements that one doesn't expect it to be
Charles, he saying anything? Remember he said he
Charles said that he has called it a day. So he had announced a long time before that he would leave it up to younger people to, of course, take the reign, and he was advising Kamala to do the same. But I was wondering, and then he made a general statement about politicians and their age and wanting, of course, to stay in office. So I was, and of course we had a discourse on that matter to find out what would he say about Rowley and, of course, other persons who prefer to stay on and guide, and what is the extent to which the younger ones can benefit from the experience of the older one, because you must have a mix of experience and youth for longevity, and clearly in a business sense or administrative sense, you must have, of course, succession planning, and a political party is no different. So all of these factors, but I suppose depending on your perspective, because he is old, he believes that everybody else who are old should be exiting as he has, whether gloriously or ingloriously. But the fact of the matter is that is his position. But of course, Gopi Schoon government keeping food prices down. What's your view on that, Andy? Gopi Schoon, the Minister of Industry, is saying that government is, food prices.
Everybody that living in Trinidad, or even if they're not living in Trinidad, and they out there, they have their family here, because some of them will send the little kakada for their family, because that help mind the family since after this PNM government. People are way out to be working for who live in here.
Yeah.
Well, no, every week you go in the grocery, the items you buy, gonna buy 25 cents, $1, $2. Every week, grocery prices going up.
Yeah, and it is strange that they make these statements, as if it is, for me, square peg in wrong hole assessment, meaning that it makes no sense. She tried, of course, to beat down on the UNC by saying that they put, of course, VAT-free items of about 7,000 items. So that is confirmed. Of course, there are others who are saying that never happened. In fact, I think she was saying at the same time that she couldn't find that information in the ministry. But that is irrelevant. But what she was saying is that this government brought back to its original moorings the removal of VAT for the poor. And therefore, in such circumstance, some of what they consider to be luxury items, VAT was placed on it. So there was a reduction. My take on that statement, and I want you to examine the statement. If you say that you reduce, it means therefore that which remained VAT-free under this administration was also VAT-free under the UNC. What is your argument? What is your argument? Because, if you said that you put no VAT on basic items that you see as basic items that the UNC did not do, then I could understand your argument. But if you are saying you reduce by, of course, taking away what you consider to be luxury items, but the items that the UNC, acknowledging that the items that the UNC made VAT-free also included all of those items that you now deem should be VAT-free. So I just don't understand the argument, and it's always is always to try to make the UNC look bad, when in fact they are spitting in the sky and it's falling in their faces. And they have the audacity and the temerity to still go on this wild and, of course, what I consider to be unproductive accusation against the UNC, as if their VAT reduction or VAT removal is different from that of the UNC. I simply cannot understand these people and their nonsensical logic. But that is what we have for people who clearly were never ready, unprepared, and therefore have perpetrated a con job on the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And more they talk is more, of course, that manifestation realizes itself. So eventually there is no talk. All you need to do is get to the polls and get these people out of our sight. After all, we must live better. We demand to live better. And that level of incompetence and impotence and convoluted talk is for another place and probably another time. And possibly as well, blue lights and silver bracelets. That is the level of incompetence we have purported to be government ministers and prime minister in this country. I don't know if you have any other comment you want to make on that, because I find it very, very, very strange. And the other thing is that she said that here it is, prices rise. The UNC government did not focus on agriculture to probably assist in domestic production, I suppose. You can't tell clearly what you want to say. If it is production of substitutes, or is it that they didn't invest in agriculture as they ought to? Well, if that is so, whichever way she might be thinking, because you never could tell, pin down exactly what they are saying or what they're referring to. But if that is so, Gopi Spoon, all you had 9 years, and next year will be 10 years. The UNC had 5 years. You want the transformation, and mind you, they never tell you either that the UNC would have inherited a very bare bone agricultural effort, a sector coming out of the Manning administration, of which at least Rowley was a part of. Never. And 5 years expired in between there. You had 9 years, and you have the audacity, the temerity, the gall, and the effrontery to, of course, to try to deflect attention away from your incompetence, impotence, and your puerile and infantile argument that somehow somebody else ought to have been in the forefront of dealing with agriculture, when you would have had 9 years, and have not been able to achieve that which you were asking the UNC to have achieved in just 5 years, having inherited a bare bone or a very, what I consider to be, lean or emaciated agricultural sector. Hollow tail. I mean, they make hatred of them almost an institution now because of the nonsense that they speak. A family friend of slain Matlot man, stop being selfish, find God. Well, that is easier said than done. Central Bank's lawsuit against Lawrence Dupree, others will go on. Well, yes, Lawrence Dupree has died, and of course, unlike a criminal matter, if the accused has died, the matter dies with him or her. But of course, in the case of the civil matter, then of course what happens is that your estate is now subjected to the whatever penalty, if at all, as a consequence of
penalties, and the government will be getting for that company make back their money, they pay back the debt, and yet still call him in birth, and the PNM government mashing up that company. Yeah. That company pay back the debt to the people at Trinidad and Tobago. We had Joala Rambalat, Len, we know early that from the time Coleman Bird came in, all he was interested in is the Clico assets. That's all. So what?
Well, it appears,
What?
it appears that their focus seemed to be what caused the collapse, or what caused the destruction or the deterioration of the fortunes of that conglomerate, CL Financial and of course Clico. While of course right now I think they are in the process of selling some component of that which they inherited from that. So this government seems to want to have its cake and eat it. It wants to burn the candle at both ends. But of course at the end of the day, from all of the major efforts that they would have made in that regard is always not only to Trinidad and Tobago's detriment, the people's detriment, but they always lose. They always lose. So this is another case. We will monitor it. Quite a lot of money is involved. Quite a lot of people is involved. You see, because you have quite a number of countries are involved as well, both here in the Caribbean and in the hemisphere, so that they believe that it is incumbent on them to continue to spend that money on a matter that clearly has been resolved. I don't think the government will get back the difference that they are claiming, having of course gone to the courts and got all of the assets to try to of course repay that $25 billion that the state put out, but the assets that they have, so that they would have gotten, they are claiming is not sufficient to amortize the debt, to service the debt in totality, and therefore, or to wipe off the debt. So they are still pursuing these matters. So we see how that pans out. Ferguson tries again to avoid revealing assets to state. So of course, Ferguson has filed in this country file cases saying that he ought not to disclose his possession, what he owns, because that is the stage at which the matter would have reached, coming out of the American or the Florida decision in the court that he was guilty, and therefore judgment was given to the state, to the government, and now is about finding where his assets are in order to garnish or to possess them in compensation or to make right the damages that was allotted to the state. So that is a long drawn out thing, and I think I'm sure that during the course of the trials he would have transferred some of his assets to families and friends and so on who he could trust in order to of course meet it, because in order to meet his upkeep, etc. So I think the state will have a very difficult task in acquiring. Of course, what they have is brownie points, meaning that they win the case. They have gotten that aspect of it in their favor. Talking about, of course, the Al-Rari and Rowley, even though, of course, it was something that was started back in the Manning administration, because it is that old, over 10 years. UNC MP Paris, right? Song, yes. Still no promotion. We did that already. Sunshine Snacks, Narayan, family friend, okay, Caribbean. All right. I have a very interesting article here which talks about statistics show that the Caribbean airline, our own airline, owned by us, pilots, lowest paid in the region. Yeah, lowest paid. So you understand why they were protesting recently. But you have a call there? Go ahead now.
All right, let me organize and play some voice notes.
Okay.
Yes, let's organize and play some voice notes. We have a lot. Yeah, we have a lot of voice notes. So let's start. Oh God, now I can't start with my American partner. He come in and he tweet Democratic thing. They say you talk there and say Trump comes across as a much stronger person.
Well,
He commented.
we are bystanders, bystanders of what is going on there. Of course, I agree with Rowley for once that we are really the grass where on which the elephants trump, and we should of course stay out of it. But of course, he has done it. He has as a grass. He has of course invite being trampled upon because of his foreign policy with respect to Venezuela and other matters appertaining thereto. And we have seen, of course, that Trinidad and Tobago is not the better for it.
Yes. Oh boy. Morning caller, where are you calling from? What's your contribution on the Gong Report this morning?
Good morning, I'm calling again.
Go ahead, New Grant. Welcome to the Gong Report.
Yeah, my contribution this morning is on yesterday's newspapers. They were discussing $2 increase to the for the CPEP workers and everybody else.
Yes.
And Mrs. Cox said that because it is in the lower end, Kamala is what she has with poor people. So the key here now is to keep selling these things to get the votes back in order. So they give them $2 and they let the population know that hey, the opposition wasn't going to give all anything. So I ought to be looking out for that. But the other thing is the finance minister. After 5 years in government, and he had done his major projects for 50 million and over and save all the VAT and taxes on it. He might have saved 100 million in all the jobs he has done. And now he's running down the poor people to pay house tax and everything else.
Go ahead. Now he's running down the people.
Now he's running them down for we to pay all the house tax, property tax, everything. So the poor must pay for he to live high. And that we have to need for the people to start understanding that the people in government, they make $50,000-$60,000 a month as a minister. If you're working in CPEP, you work $3,000-$4,000 for a month. So you have to work one whole year for 1 month of their salary. And if we don't start understanding all of these things, then we reach in a position that we will continue supporting what we want and we get nothing out of it. We will always be receiving the crumbs of the bread. And the real bread goes to everybody else.
Very good contribution, my brother.
Well, like when he said...
Finish?
Hello?
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller. I thought you were finished.
Yeah, I'm finished at this point.
Okay, thank you very much for your contribution. But he started off by saying that the impression that the PNM will try to give is that Kamala would not have given that $2. But yet still she, in her just a revised budget, she was saying that the people deserve $5. But my question to the general listenership and viewership is whether or not you really believe that Kamala would not have given that $2. Because the real argument really is that Rowley, recognizing that Kamala has said $5 instead of $2, claim that Kamala's position is a populist one. And their $2 is not populist. You know what populist means? It means, therefore, it is about trying to entice people to like you. That is what a populist, in simple terms, means. So Rowley and PNM $2 is not populist, according to their argument, because Kamala, in her response, say it should be $5, and she would have given $5. So it is clear from any, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand that it was a populist $2 because CPEP people were supposed to feel good. The population must now be saying that the government is a caring government. Yeah, and that of course that $2 is on the cusp of general elections. What more populist strategy or what more populist intent there could be than that. So that's the first part. But the other part, I think, is also very important to analyze as well. They are saying that the suggestion by Kamala Persad-Bissessar of $5 instead of the $2 that they have proposed, well, they will get it done because they are in office, of course, and in charge of the Treasury at this time. But of course, the other argument is that that $5 will cause businesses to either flounder or go out of business, or cause, of course, unscrupulous businessmen to engage in activities that will not make them lose by reducing probably hours of work, etc. Well, I have to ask the question, what is the difference with the $2? The $2, their $2 will not cause that, but Kamala $5 will cause that. I just don't understand the asinine statements of these people, and there is evidence to show that what they are saying is nonsensical, is pie in the sky, is spitting in the sky, and that they are only talking that talk for populist reason because there is an election coming, and Kamala has, of course, gone beyond them, and therefore they don't want to lose that, so therefore they come up with this stupid argument that really has no sense. Because when they were told that if you reduce subsidies on the fuels in this country, if you reduce it, and therefore the price of gasoline and other commodities, energy commodities for churning the wheels of industry, it will increase. And everything across the board, from bread, flour, sugar, etc., domestically. Round there, them turn and say, no, they don't expect that to happen. And sure, as the people knew, everything rose, including, of course, the taxi fare. How long they tell? Who will feel all they could fool? That is a populist move. And that too will cause businessmen to think, that $2 will cause businessmen to think how not to pay it or reduce their obvious increased costs of doing business by possibly and inclusive of reducing hours of work. What is the difference? There is no damn difference. The only difference is that you're trying, of course, to hoodwink the population, and those sycophants and they gabbling up and, of course, regurgitating that hogwash. It is hogwash. That is what it is. Both suggestions have similar consequences, but in the case of Kamala, I know for a fact that to ease that, you would see for Christmas time, for example, no VAT at all on the very basic items that Gopi School would have, of course, accepted and know to be a fact, but trying to say that that is an invention of the PNM. All the tales. Go ahead, my friend.
So truth. So what are we going to do, Trinidad and Tobago? Let's try to get involved. Well, let me get an idea of the PNM mainstream and what is the headliners in the PNM mainstream at this point in time.
You have that?
The Ground Report with Mikey K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Good morning, I'm Ryan Bates here with headline news on CNC3. An anti-bullying campaign is set to be rolled out in South Trinidad in the aftermath of the death of Jaden Lalchan. This was confirmed by ACP Wayne Meister, who visited the family of Jaden. But as you hear in this report, as the nation is outraged over the Jaden's suicide brought on by bullying, one minister is warning adults not to engage in the act themselves. Meanwhile, Mayaro MP Rushton Parry had this to say in Parliament.
Jaden was a bright, promising student, and his untimely death, allegedly stemming from the horrendous act of bullying, reminds us of the urgent need to protect our children and create environments where they feel safe, valued, and supported.
Meanwhile, Wayne Meister confirmed he spoke to the lead investigator, giving him guidelines. The principal, teachers, and students at St. Stephen's College will all be interviewed. A file will be sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions for his advice. But Meister also revealed an anti-bullying campaign will be established in South.
Persons may still think that bullying is not an offense, but it is a criminal offense, and it's going to bring education for the students and the teachers and so on, so that they can report these incidents. Again, we are taking a tolerance approach as it relates to bullying.
Like 15-year-old St. Stephen's College student Jaden Lalchan, Princestown MP Barry Padarat says he too is a victim of bullying. Using his budget debate, Padarat disclosed the dark side of what transpires in the parliament. He accused members on the other side of the bench of bullying him and his colleagues. He confessed to even contemplating suicide. And like school, Padarat said the parliament is supposed to be a safe space, but said that hasn't been the case for several UNC MPs.
From our nation's school to the nation's parliament, bullying, torment, and torture has been normalized. And I make no apologies for saying that. I've seen it happen with my colleague from Chaguanas East. I've seen it happen with my colleague from Barataria San Juan. Every single colleague on this side of the bench.
Parents of Rosilak Hindu School students say concerns of bullying are not being addressed by its principal. These claims surfaced during an early morning protest by the newly elected Parent-Teacher Association. Students and staff found themselves locked out of the school when they turned up for classes at the Rosilak Community Center. The fire service had to break the padlock to allow them access. There have been several protests at the school in the last few weeks, triggered by the relocation of Standard 5 classrooms into what they say is a cramped space. Fed up with conditions, a new PTA is demanding the completion of the new school building that is about 70% complete. The parents also raised other issues, including bullying. Those were your 6 a.m. news. Crushed to death while fixing a dump truck at a job site in Gasparillo. 34-year-old Gavin Mungru died while undergoing treatment at the San Fernando General Hospital. He was working under the truck at Bull Fabricators on Thompson Street around 12:30 p.m. when he was pinned beneath. His 23-year-old nephew, who was with him at the worksite, tells CNC3 News that they used a forklift to free him.
We was mounting up the trucks, and the back end fell and squeezed them between the truck. Well, the truck chassis, so to the back of the truck have a diff. The back diff, he was in the spacing of the back diff. And they were like, I don't know if the diff rolled forward and came down because he was slackening a boat.
Mayoral MP Roshan Parry says he will consider supporting government's anti-crime legislation. During his contribution to the budget debate in Parliament yesterday, Parry explained his stance, citing increasing murder figures as well as other crimes such as home invasions. He said given the situation, MPs have a duty to protect the well-being of citizens. However, Parry said whatever legislation is brought must protect constitutional rights and pass the test of the courts.
Madam Speaker, I have made my stance clear. I am willing to put Trinidad and Tobago above everything else, above partisan politics, above any type of politics that will cause another toddler to be shot, another pensioner to be robbed, another family to face any type of violation. Madam Speaker, with those few words, this may very well be my swan song. Let the chips fall where it may.
Like 15-year-old St. Stephen's College student Jaden Lalchan, Princestown MP Barry Padarat says he too is a victim of bullying. Using his budget debate, Padarat disclosed the dark side of what transpires in the parliament. He accused members on the other side of the bench of bullying him.
Yeah, well, we heard all of that already, Lennox Smith. Well, the major
news headlines. Be sure to join us for.
Well, the major news really and truly is bullying. And well, we see MP Parry will be supporting the government in any anti-crime bill that allows anybody constitutional rights in get interfered with. You see, and it's not about party politics. It's not about red, yellow, black. It's about the people of Trinidad and Tobago first and those sorts. So that is the headliners in the news at this point in time. But what we're going to do before we even comment, because it's already 40 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock, and we have not invited the people of Trinidad and Tobago in any type of way. So Trinidad and Tobago, the lines are open. We'll give you the numbers to call: 225-6644, 225-6644, or 239-5120, 239-5120. Or give us a WhatsApp call or send a WhatsApp voice note at 366-3053, 366-3053. So let's open the lines. Let's open the lines. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's open the lines. Well, voice note.
Andy, good morning here, boy, to you and Lennox and my kicker and to all our ardent and listeners and supporters of the report and the patriotism that they give to Trinidad and Tobago. This is Imam Kazim here. I just want to say, and to give commendation to all of our representatives, on the bench of the UNC. I mean, they were really and truly devastating. They were really and truly being able to make their points so clear, and you have to give them credit. They are good representatives. They are people, you see in them the quality and the caliber of people who could run this country. And I want to give, all of them have made good submissions and they have made good presentation, but the one that really struck me and I feel so proud of him is the MP for Princess Tong, Barry Padarat. And he was really and truly on fire. I mean, there's not enough words to really describe his presentation, and it is most heartening to see he coming out and making the statement. He too was bullied, and he was not, submissive to those who were of that sort. So the young chap who have took his life because he felt he was in some way bullied or he was harassed. He was young, he didn't know really and truly, what road to take, and he didn't put his trust, maybe I would say, on his parents, but his parents were saying he never really came out to them and made any mention to say one or two times, but more times often than not, his mom would have said when she picked him up from school, sometimes he would be jolly, sometimes he would be, confused or whatever. And when she would ask him, son, everything is all right, he would say yes, but he kept everything to himself. And that is something that, it is most concerning to us as parents, that we should be able now to speak to our parents with a lot of love and kindness, not only by our tongues, but the way we live our lives, Andy. The way, the thing that we do before them, we should show them the examples of what good and healthy living is all about. We have to set the example that they can see through us, what we want them to be. And therefore, Barry would have made that submission yesterday in the parliament. I mean, he was really excellent in regards to every one of them who sat there yesterday and the day on Friday, and made, the presentation. It was so heartening to see that when people come and say that they are not working, they are not doing everything, and they are just like the other side. I want people to reflect and to think. I want them to think. Bullying is something none of us should want to condone or want to submit ourselves to. And I am saying to this country, we must not allow ourselves to be bullied by this government and also the leader of the government, because of the words that he said, the words that he used, the dirtiness that he comes in the public domain as a leader. I don't know if he has any mannerism, if he has any discipline, if he has any understanding that sometimes children, are listening to his presentations. You see, and he believes he could talk in parables and people would not understand, what he is trying to imply. So we, as citizens of this country, we have to understand to eat what is inside the egg, not the shell. The shell is to throw away. What is inside there is what we have to participate because it will nourish us. So therefore, in this context, I am saying we have in our midst, we have in this country someone who has that patriotism, that one who has that love, that one who has that affection, that one who has the ability, to transform this country and put this country on a road, to success. She has done it in 2010 to 2015, and therefore, it will be only depriving, we will be depriving ourselves, not her, or not any one of them, because they have enough to live for years and years, but they are still trying in their endeavors, Andy, to fulfill a mandate that, that was given to them by the Creator and Sustainer, to enjoy unto people what you love for yourself, you love for others. And I think in Kamla Prasad, we say she is not perfect, she must make mistakes on her way out. She do recognize it, and more times often than not, she have apologized to the country. But we have to understand. We have to understand that she will make the difference We have to give her the opportunity to put her back on that pedestal in order to eat the fruits. You know, we want to eat the fruit that will sweeten our tongues and sweeten our lives. We don't want to eat the fruit that will bitter our lives. We don't want the fruits that will continue to create mayhem and destruction in this country, murders, rampant murders. When you see policemen today who are supposed to protect and serve, they are condoning acts of terrorism on the people. They are causing so much of destruction to the lives. Who can we trust? Who can we trust if they are there to protect and serve, and yet still you are seeing people in the service who have high echelons, sergeants and superintendents. They are so bold-faced now, they're using the vehicles. They're using the hard vehicle to go and commit robbery. There are 2 incidents, in one which the young man's life lost, and the other one where you see a police car was driven and dropping out 2 bandits to go and rob. So, Andy, we have to be very careful with this election going. We have to be very careful. $2 on what? On a little revenue for poor people. That is Mama Guy. That is Mama Guy. And I want to comment on the statement made by that public utilities minister yesterday, where he was implying racism. He was directly implying racism and making comments and asserting to the fact that would you put this one, take out this one and put this one? Would you take out that one and put this one? What was he implying? He is sending a message to his people through racism that you cannot trust these people. Don't put these people into government. They will deprive you of your rights. They are inferior. We are superior. We are better than them. But better in how? In destroying the country, Andy. This morning, I am saying to my MPs, to my opposition members, well done. Continue the struggle. I know we have some of them who may be dissidents, maybe in the parliament. But sometimes you have to understand, we have to work with what we have. And we should not want to really and truly rock the boat to the extent that all of us, will fall in the sea and drown. Because we have a greater battle to fight. And that is to save this country, Andy. That is to save this country, like what you and Mighty K and Lennox is doing here every day. And all the listeners on the station who come out, and put their life at stake to voice their opinion, and to give this support in the best possible way to see a change in this country. But I say again in my closing remarks, God do not change the conditions for people unless they change what is in their hearts. We have to look at our heart, which is the most integral part of our body, Andy. If the heart is clean, the man is clean. If the heart is dirty, his mind is dirty. And therefore we on this station must always want to regulate and control this lump of flesh, which only could bring us good when we are clean and we are pure and we love for other people what we love for ourselves. There are some who only want to see in other people what they do not see in themselves. I hope and pray that God Almighty will bless us. He will open our way for us in this country, that He will give the people that strength, that ability to enjoy what is right and to avoid what is wrong. Andy, thank you. May God bless you all.
Good morning, Ground Report, each and everyone. People talk about the two parties are the same, UNC and PNM. But let's look at the leaders of the both parties. When you look at the UNC leader, Mrs. Pisesa, the love, compassion, warmth, and caring she has for people, and for the country. Comparing to the hate, bitterness, and disrespect of the PNM leader, Rowley. I mean, it's a big difference there. You cannot compare it. It's like chalk and cheese. So when people going away with the notion that both of them are the same, you have to look at the leaders, and you have to look at the quality of the leader. And Mrs. Bissessa has all what it takes to be a true leader than that imposter, right? He's not a leader. They have a old saying, he's leader when leader not there. That is how it is. So that is the comparison between both, and that will tell you a true story of a true leader. Take care, gentlemen.
Andy, good morning again. I see Lennox now come on. I don't know if you heard my clip there just now, but could you ask Lennox? I don't know if he's hearing this my voice. To comment his comments on the Heritage and Stabilization Fund with regards to the opposition leader statement of how much was withdrawn and so on from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund in the last 10 years. Lennox, let me hear your views on this now. This is an interesting topic. Thanks again.
Andy Williams, good morning. Good morning to Lennox Smith and Mr. Mikey K. Andy Williams, there is something that bothering me a little bit. I don't know if you all could look into it at any time. This PTSC Transcorp, the credit union. I have someone close to me, my sister-in-law. She works there and she took a loan, and for the past 5 years and more, the loan never reduced. All she paying $2,000 every month, and they telling she only paying the interest on the loan, and the principal of the loan never dropped down. So I don't know if somebody could look into this, because I find it is real ridiculous with these people. She have money in her shares and telling them to take the $2,000 and pay off the shares. And they don't want to do that. They're telling she they can't do that. And just now she's going to resign from the work. So what is they doing? They're trying to take the woman pension and everything that way she's supposed to get and pay off loan at that point in time, so she wouldn't go home with anything. Somebody had to look into this, man. It's real ridiculous.
Only for Grandy. If bullying is an offense, right? And the individual who bullied the young boy caused the boy to take his life. Why it is that the police are going to get recommendation from the DPP and arrest the boy? Eh? Because that fellow been taunting the little boy and telling him all kind of things for years. And now the boy dead is an offense. All the police know how to do all their job. Lock up his tail. Yeah, he should be making a jail for that, because he caused a little child to go and kill himself. All the police is really jokey in this place, you know. Real jokey. Have a good day, Andy.
Andy, good morning. It's me. Don't worry about Kamala Harris and Biden. We're going to take care of Donald Trump. The lying Donald Trump. The lying, stealing, thieving, idiot Donald Trump. Who out of 10 words come out this mouth is a lie. Please, me again. Sorry for that. I'm calling you for my job, so I have to be very careful in my job. Okay? I listen to you. Yeah, Andy. So many people calling me this morning. You know we have a hurricane coming down in Orlando, but we're all good. And they don't worry about the Biden and Harris. We're going to kick Donald Trump. All he talk about, he talk on the war. Donald Trump, we're going to get 9 out of 10 words that come out his mouth is lie. The man lie was the Crowley. Or Crowley lie was that both of them are the same piece in the same pot. The lie. So we all about that. But anyhow, what I was saying is, I called it for my work, so I have to be very careful. Andy, Dave Tanku, that guy make the contribution that I listened yesterday. It was a really good contribution. And the man is on point. The amount of money the PNM, the thief, the steal, and the people see that the PNM supporters not seeing the kind of money they thief, and yet them is eating grass. They're the lowest grade of people. They're living in the worst area. I mean, and they see the kind of money the PNM stealing. You guys need to discuss that, talk about that, because that man is stealing so much money there. And Dave Tanku make the point and he let them see how much money they steal. And we need to talk about that. Yeah, again, I call it for my job, so I have to be careful. Anyhow, don't worry about Donald Trump. He's going to lose the election. How is he going to win? Both Kamalas hopefully win the election, their elections. And again, Crowley and Donald Trump, they say, the lie. The man is senile. Both of them is senile, but they're mad. Both of them mad. The crazy you hear that word come out of that man's mouth. Andy, I think you're getting over your head. I don't think you understand politics. The vice president in America is just a yes person. They make no policy. The policy is made by the president, and the vice president follow the policy. They don't make no policy. Did you think Pence, Donald Trump, vice president, make policy? He was just a yes man, sign the paper and kiss my butt. That's how it is. That's why he wanted to hang him. Donald Trump wanted to hang him, and he and his supporters wanted to hang him in his court. So you see, vice presidents don't make policy, but when they get in position, then they create their own policy. So I think you're getting over a little over your head. You need to understand that vice presidents do not make policy, they follow the rules of the president. And that's how it is. You could be what? Woman, man, child, whatever it is, that's how it is. You follow the president's policy. When you're in charge, you do for like how you're in charge of the administration, you make your own policy, you tell them go fall when you want to fall. All right?
But then I will say that Kamala Harris, well, then is a hypocrite because why take the vice presidency position if it is you don't believe in what your president is for? Lennox, just engage with me a little bit, baby, because you know that we partner from away. Who they support the Democrats.
I want to reverse.
He's saying, well, the vice president has no power in America.
Yeah, I want to reverse that because, you see, we were not talking about her vice presidency. What we were talking about is Kamala Harris as the Democratic candidate for the ensuing presidential elections in the United States. That I want to be very clear, pellucid, and slow speaking. So that's two different areas, and therefore she has to articulate as the nominee for presidency of the Democrats what her policies are, separate and apart. If it means it has to conflict with Biden's, she has to do that as Kamala Harris candidate for presidency. Understand that? That is why you have a presidential debate. You cannot. She cannot go in a presidential nominee, or should I say candidate debate and talk about Biden's policy. No, she has to talk about what she will do as president. So there's a big distinction there, and it is in the latter context we were talking that Kamala Harris, as of course presidential candidate for the Democrats in the ensuing elections for presidency. And there is where the dichotomy is, or maybe the confusion, right? So yes, she has to, as vice president, she has to toe the line. But as a candidate for the presidency of the United States, she has to toe her own line, Papa, because she will, if she wins, she will also have, of course, a vice president that has to toe her own line.
And she's like she's towing the line, Lennox Smith, of Biden. And Biden policy, she's going on that line, Biden policies.
With respect to, yes, President, with respect to the policies of President-to-be, if you want to call that, Kamala Harris. Yes, it appears that there's a consistency. But of course, I hope that the distinction is clear when we speak about Kamala Harris in the context of the candidate for presidency, the nominee for the Democrats.
Right, and what we was also clear about, which is a fact, when you watch, let me see now in the geopolitics, this is a fact. When you watch all the major war countries out there, nuclear powered countries out there, whether it be the Russia, the China, the South Korea, the North Korea, the The Iran, look at now. When you watch them, you know for sure them do not have respect for Kamala Harris. Whether she vice president or can't say none, even if she reaching there, they don't have respect for her, nor Biden. And it's a fact that outside there, them radical countries have more respect for Donald Trump. It's a fact. That one, water can wash with that one. And at this point in time, the way the world is going, what the world in the geopolitics, if Kamala is to win, I see in Punten, China, everybody, Iran, everybody going and continue. Compare to if Trump is to win, I seen real talk going to happen. I seen real negotiation because nobody don't know how that madman Trump this thing. They wouldn't mess with Trump. That is my
there's the other factor that Trump is the Republican nominee, regardless whether you think of him as a liar, you think of him as some unsavory character, the fact that he has several criminal and maybe civil matters impending or actively engaging his attention and the nation, that is the Republican candidate. And your personal view is irrelevant because the party has made the choice and made him the candidate. It's just as the PNM here. We know that Dr. Rowley is an unsavory character. We know he's scum of the earth. We know he's a misogynic person. We know, of course, he has a licentious past that is despicable and immoral and lewd and sometimes ludicrous. But he is the man, of course. In the context of Trinidad, we were let's say hoodwinked, and we were ambushed by the PNM leadership in bringing him on the stage in 2015 because we knew little of him, but now we know all of him. And therefore we know that he ought not to have been a candidate or even the leader of the PNM in the first place back in 2015. That is what we know. So that is the kind of thing. Of course, in the case of Trump and Kamala Harris, Trump is known because he was in the presidential seat before. She, of course, is the vice president, and whilst it may not be, it is clearly not the presidency, but of course people have much less to know of her if she gets into the seat. And the only how the American population could judge is by those, of course, debates. I think they had two already, and from that they will make their judgment as to whether or not as president she will meet what is expected of the United States in contemporary times, having regard to all of the conflicts across the world that will necessarily, of course, involve the United States, one way or another.
Yes. Yeah. So for those who say, Andy, educate yourself, you dance, you this, you that, however, with the geopolitics when it comes to America, however it go. At the end of the day, they South Ides watch it, the top voters will watch it the same way. Whether Kamala Harris is not the president of United States, she is the vice president at this point in time still of United States, wanting to become the president of the United States. She are part of the policies and programs of the Biden administration. She goes along with it. It is what it is.
Yeah, because
and the Democrats are coming across, whether it be Biden or whether it be Kamala Harris, when it coming again, all your domestic scenes and there will who go get who black people check and who go do this and who don't like black people. I don't give a about that. What I watching is the way the geopolitics when it come into war, our next world war, with people that have nuclear bombs. What going on in Israel? What going on in Gaza? What Iran and the Muslim people looking to come together? And who that I am seeing to be the person to be able to settle that? Because Harris there, she's the vice president. She's the one admit on a debate. And they want to tell me, she admit in a debate that she have been, or she have visit Ukraine and many of the other leaders out there. Talk to them over the phone based on the geopolitics partner. She have been doing geopolitics work for America. Where Biden ain't go because he falling down. Is where she was going. So me not only black and who thing and Trump mouth, I am on who I believe and not owners and supporters of president or this or that or no. I am on who I believe those radical countries that have nuclear bombs, whether it be the China, the Iran, whether it be the North Korea, whether it be what, they won't have respect for Biden nor Kamala. So moving from vice president to go president, what will make them have respect for us still? Let me win. But Trump was there already. We see him with how he operates, and we see they have respect for him. And that is a fact. So I don't have education where someone is talking there to kind of down this black, white, who this, who that, cocaine, to kang or this. I don't give a damn about all the politics in America. I talking about the world now. We're going back on Trinidad and Tobago people. Is that we get serious war. Who I believe that the respect is Donald Trump. Who I believe can make a little peace in the world right now is Donald Trump. The most powerful country in the world is America. It's a fact Donald Trump is the candidate for the Republicans. It's a fact Kamala Harris is the candidate for the Democrats. And watching the two, one of the two going to be a president. Going to be the president of America. Which one of them two that only believe Russia go respect, Iran go respect, China go respect? It's just basic common sense talk I talking here. You don't need education for that. Hence the reason why, and all of them in parliament, they're real educated, eh? Rowley bunch of them, real educated, eh? Where's the natural common sense to do the damn work properly? Come on now, man. Go sell me education for as facts as I must. Because somebody educated that what they're telling me, they're talking the truth. Because they're educated, they're BSing me. What tell them about? Rowley educated, and he BSing all of we. Even educated people, he BSing. Professors, doctor, the man BSing down to God people, pastors, pundits, priests. He have no respect for none of them. And then them supposed to be educated with the Bible and God and spiritually. And what are these educated people doing? Come on now, man. That's my opinion. And my opinion has to be respected. And yo, let me welcome and you're going to talk there. Yeah. Mr. Pleasant, good morning to Guile, all the viewers and Guile, the Caribbean. Welcome to the Ground Report program. I'm Andy Williams, the Pitbull of Radio. On top there is Lennox Smith. Michael Curve, Mikey K will be joining us in a little while. Thanks so much.
Yes, welcome all the viewers to
and taking a part Caribbean, of the Ground Report program on Guile the channel. Yes, Lennox Smith. Go ahead.
Yes, I was saying that the attitude to their leadership, the Americans, in terms of voting patterns and so on, or the basis for their voting, is usually on issues. Trinidad and Tobago politicians, particularly the PNM, has been successful in, of course, attempting to divide the nation into two racial grouping, and then, of course, become successful that way without really implementing the developmental, should I say, prerequisites that are required in order to advance Trinidad and Tobago. Clearly, the length of time the PNM would have been in office in Trinidad, we should be firmly seen as the Singapore of the West. but that has not happened, again, because the PNM found it very easy to just divide and rule, and over the years that has been successful. Of course, that is a dying trait as we speak, because clearly scenario. So we understand that Trinidad a little slower, but we are getting there. In the case of the United States, they are strictly on policies and programs. So Trump's argument is very. And of course, because he was in government, he pursued that course of action, that's to make America great again. And of course, he was more domestic oriented than, of course, international, while of course making certain that the protection of the United States is superlative compared to any other country. For example, he had planned to have a space police. Let's say establishment, so that utilizes space to protect the United States, I think was one of his focus. And then of course the borders, and of course making sure that elements that would harm the United States, such as those terrorists that want to come from different parts of the world, but utilizing what is considered to be their porous southern border, because of course the border with Canada is not that vulnerable, but certainly in the south, because of the poor countries that would be in Central America and leading up to South America. So you have that, and then of course you have a situation where he says that he's going to bring back all of the industries, or most of the major industries, back into the United States. Of course, the Democrats are of the view that you can have poor countries that have a very, what I can say, poor environmental and other labor laws. They produce the things that the United States would need, and so in a sense, if things are to go its natural course, take its natural course, it means therefore the United States will be vulnerable or susceptible or dependent on these countries to manufacture. We have seen it with, of course, those chips, for example.
Yes,
yeah.
Lennox,
Yeah.
hold 1 minute, let's take a call. Go ahead, caller. Pleasant.
Go ahead, caller. Sorry about that. Yes, we will give way. Go ahead, caller.
Good morning, Andy.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, Lennox, Mikey K, and Director Lee. And by extension, our family. Andy, I need a minute here. I could not get through yesterday. That being said, my topic this morning is paying homage to our political leader, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, SC. Her brilliant presentation last week Friday in the Parliament, it was such an honor to sit, look, and listen to her. What an honor. I must say that our leader fully understands her assignment. For that, I want to say thank you, leader. Next topic. Yesterday, I heard a gentleman call saying, why the UNC paying parliamentarians don't get up and do something? Sir, yes, you are entitled to your opinion, but the UNC is not in power. You just woke up and realized we have a water crisis in this country. Mr. Barry Padarat, MP, let me correct myself, MP Barry Padarat had been raising the water issue several times in Parliament. He is still awaiting an answer to the water situation and how they will fix it. Next topic.
Yeah, but what you mean there, Ms. Brown, is that all right? Yes, we are seeing what it is the UNC MPs are doing in the Parliament, right? This is not he calling for Kamala to come on. What he is saying is MP Barry Padarat should be within his constituency, that having the water problem, mobilize his people, and they come out and technically fight the government, because water is a necessity. That is the line that the gentleman was talking about. Not the fight in Parliament, not the pen and paper fight, but the physical fight, as in to put up that pressure, to give that pressure by the members of the community and the MP, will send a very strong message now. It's on that grounds the gentleman was talking on, my friend. But you go ahead on your third comment.
Why they don't get up and do something. I'm further going into my presentation. Next topic, just sharing information. We have our Monday night forum, which is being held at 7 p.m. all over this country when it's announced. Also, we have the Sunday morning forum at 11 a.m. Then we have a midweek briefing during the week, explaining and informing people on the issues taking place in Trinidad and Tobago. I live here. I know what's going on. Next, we have an election to win. We need all hands on deck. To my UNC brother, let's hold it together. Thank you to Ms. Santa Cruz, Ms. Woodbrook, Ms. Shagonas, Ms. La Hoquita, Mr. Barapo, and all our intelligent warriors on the live stream. We want to live better. Thank you, gentlemen, and have a blessed day.
Oh boy, thank you very much. Lennox Smith, before that come across the wrong way, because you know how UNC supporters they try to take things the wrong way. Would you be able, very short and sweet, to explain that there what the gentleman was talking about? It is not based on writing on this and that. It's based now on the physical support for the people, especially in our election year at this point in time.
Yeah.
You know, that physical come out and be there with the people scenes now.
The role, let's face it, the role of the MP, a very fortunate and significant position, cannot be understated. They have access to the ministers who may well be a is a parliamentarian. They can't be a minister without being a parliamentarian, whether you go through the Senate or you have contested a seat. So therefore, that direct across the aisle, if you want to call it that, conversation in a debate, raise it of course on the adjournment and all of that. That has its role. Let's not, we are not going to shoot down that. We're not going to say that that is not important. But of course there's another role that the MP, particularly if it's an elected MP, must play. And that is to say, that is why they have a day at minimum in their constituencies. And of course, matters of that nature can now be strategized by them. Of course, in concert with other elements on the ground, because he or she could not have become an MP for a particular constituency without the support of other players in the, whether you call them sub-leaders, you call them shakers and movers, whatever you want to call them. So therefore, I think it is that focus the conversation went. And therefore, in such a situation where the parliamentary strategy would have failed, and you implement, of course, one that is on the ground, whether it be in the form of protest, the parliamentary representative don't have to be there, especially if it may, of course, be, should I say, extremely aggressive to the point that would attract the attention of the law enforcement agencies, and this government has, of course, the unsavory characteristic of course, trying to emasculate people, utilizing the police service, claiming it's not them. But of course, we have seen that with pushback 1 and 2, when they of course tear gassed us, etc.
Yeah, but don't go in too much.
Context, yeah, in that context, no, I'm completing now. It's in that context, I suspect the caller would have been talking. So both have their role and responsibility, but if both of them come together, it means therefore is a greater force. In other words.
So true. So true, because I see Tava, look, I see Kadisha Amin is out there.
Yes, that's
I'm
right,
seeing
exactly.
videos
That's
with
a
her
classic
with
example,
her people. So yeah, so she's, and I'm sure she's writing to, she's writing to the MP.
All the physical things,
She's doing all what them are doing. But I actually seen Kadisha Amin within her constituents and her constituency physically standing up with the people. That with the gentleman talking about
it. Yeah, that part might have been missing.
Shaman is a good example of that.
Yeah, that
They're
part
doing videos, organizing, they're fighting up outside of parliament and in her constituency with her people.
Yeah, because let's face it, the constituency elected you to represent them, and if there is a major issue, whether it's water, whether it's roads, whether it be buildings, etc., schools, etc., you are expected, of course, to play a pivotal role in that regard, particularly where the ordinary people have not been able to attract the attention because their pleas have been falling on deaf ears.
Nice.
And Kadisha, of course, is a clear example of that effort as a parliamentarian.
Paula.
Yeah.
Pleasant good morning to you. Where you're calling from? Welcome to the Ground Report, and welcome to the people, all the viewers on Guyana, the Caribbean, that whether it be in Jamaica, whether it be Guyana, or wherever. Welcome. Go ahead, caller. What's your contribution on the Ground Report this morning?
Andy for Grandy, and Grandy for Andy. And that is why I asked all the Caribbean people to hear my cry that we want foreign observers for the 2025 general election when it constitutionally due call by the dictator. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, to all your listeners, Workers Platform to all your listeners, and up the channel all over the world where this broadcast may be heard on the different social media. Good. Andy, Lennox, Mikey, and all technical supporters behind the scene. Mr. Andy Williams, I will acquire your indulgence through Mr. Lennox as your lawyer this morning. Now, I will ask you, Mr. Andy, now, how much days we were in front of the parliament for? We had 2 days to come out in front of the parliament to stand up, to say that we want a better life. You see, the handful of right-thinking citizens came out. Then, when you mobilize your constituents and they come out with that placard, the bonfire, who are you talking to? And the UNC is a more diplomatic, law-abiding people. You're meeting the minister himself and talking, right? And you're telling them, so he know for the different complaints. And it is being hurting me to see that Faris Arari is the local government minister. And yet still, the people who are being served by the UNC councillors and them is being starved for funding. And they will sit down quiet. But the councillors are supposed to come out and beat a drum and say, Ole, come, follow me, come, and be the front line with placard. It had 4 schools, PTA, call out the parents with more than 300 children attending them school. Only 6 and 7 parents come out. And it have people, they want other people to do everything for them. When the people will come out for themselves. So you don't want to send a message, make all the placards and come out in front of the MP office. Come out in front of the office. They come out and tell him that yes, this is what, and he will know what to do. Yeah, but he had to come. Yeah, and because that is the PNM narrative to show that what the MP doing, what the MP using, understand the strategy of the PNM. They're telling you now that the UNC are doing nothing. But when you see the PNM MPs and them, it gets crossed by the contribution by people for not serving them. And billions of dollars. And the government they're in have the treasury and they do it for them. And yet still they're quiet. And when they highlight the social mainstream and few minutes, my political leader has speak.
Have a minute
in that
again. Go
parliament.
ahead, my brother. 1 minute again. Go ahead.
And I'd speak in the parliament. And all the UNC support members who got, and all they ever followed up the debate, and all following the PNM narrative and misleading. And now again, I'm going to talk because we'll correct it tomorrow. Have a nice day, Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you very much, my brother Faizabad. What we are sure about Trinidad and Tobago that the opposition message and all we have to do and all what Ann Brown will talk about, my boy Faizabad and many of you, Santa Cruz and many of you have to talk about, that message do come out when it coming to the ground report, whether radio, now TV, however it go, we make sure the opposition message come out. But it is that if the message not coming out, because we had to seek ways and means to get the message out for the masses, because PNM having the money, they are getting their messages out at this point.
But
because eventually they had to look at having 1 or 2 radio stations when they're having the Monday night forums or the Sunday this or that or thing, having 1 or 2 radio stations. Going live on one of the mainstream, they have no choice. Go live on one of the mainstreams too. Well, obviously they can organize and come live here on Guile the channel, Guile the Caribbean. They have to do all those things in order to get the message out. It's not that the UNC is sending a very, very good message, you know. It's not that they're not on par with whatever, you know, but somehow the message not getting out. Lennox Smith, short and sweet. You understand what I'm saying before I go back to the lines there? Short and sweet.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying there, and that is a matter for of course, the decision makers, the leadership, etc. If they are convinced and satisfied with what the status quo is, well, there's nothing we could do about it, even though, of course, we have identified shortcomings. But what I want to do is piggyback on what the last caller said. I think it's important because it also defines very distinctly the difference between the PNM and the UNC. Here it is, of course, there is the argument that the MP should be doing more, even though he or she is in opposition, and it should be on the ground, and that might have been, of course, maybe a feature of this particular case, but it's not so generally, because as we said, Amin has been on the ground, of course, and we could identify several other elected representatives and possibly, of course, senators as well, because Naked is one case in point. But the point I want to make the difference between the PNM and the UNC is this, that the PNM elected representative and all non-elected representatives in the parliament do not engage at all. Do not engage. And are not expected to engage. They are simply, it appears that it is a policy of Balize House that to tell people do not go and solve problems. So even when a murder of a heinous nature takes place, it appears that they have to get some kind of note from Balize House or the leadership or the prime minister or the leader of the party to say, go and say something, go and put in your face. So I think that is a clear distinction once again, because whilst we are talking and the leadership of the PNM will try to make it look as though the UNC and the PNM is the same, we have a duty and responsibility to generate the dichotomy, the division that makes it very, very clear that the UNC is different from the PNM, that it is people-centered, that it has a principle that speaks about people even talking their minds. And someday, of course, we'll have to talk about that in general, because I believe I would prefer to be in a position where I could speak my mind, even though I am still part and parcel. And of course, people understand that I'm speaking my mind, but it doesn't mean that I will betray my party because of the democratic processes and the fact that that is much more superior than you have a autocratic and stymied entity that, of course, stifles personal opinion and the inability to speak your mind. Go ahead.
Oh, truth, so truth. Oh boy, which is no different. when we were on radio, the coverage was way more people. We was on mainstream radio. Internet, yes, gets a lot of people, but it's not everybody has access to internet. It's not everybody have access to cable TV. So understand. So we will need to create avenues in order to get the message out to the other masses, in which mainstream media, who are really and truly supporters of the government, making sure to bring out the government message. Check it out good. And when the UNC having their meetings and how it go, barely they will really and truly elaborate on the message of the opposition. So again, that's not for me.
And
that's not
you
for
have raised a very valid point there. I had only yesterday a discussion with Ms. Woodbrook. Yes, I went to her home yesterday to collect her order, and that came up, and that whilst of course we would have gained on the one hand in terms of new callers, the level of discussions increase, etc. The level, the standard, and so on. There is a need, of course, to get to the most grassroots of grassroots, including people who are not familiar with the technology. But you raise a very important point that even if everybody, because the argument is everybody has a smartphone, but not everybody has data. You have to have data, but with a radio, clearly you don't need that, and therefore more than that, people are in terms of the familiarity with the technology, that's another learning curve that some people are simply prefer not to pursue, and therefore we would have lost an opportunity there, because that person otherwise, if they had a simple radio, would have of course tuned into the.
Not sure why he's saying this, but if by now on the elections, they had to try to see if they could get access to other mainstream medias in order to get that message out. Just like we on the ground report, just like here on Dial the channel, and all those various things. But let me take this call. Go ahead, caller.
President, good morning. Welcome.
Moment was going to read night and until this conversation come up, where Mr. Androng had to relate to somebody saying the MP them they're not coming out and doing what they're supposed to do, and they're supposed to do more and all this kind of thing, right? For the opposition.
Right, and that is on the grounds. The person, again, let me clear what the person is stating. They are doing their work when it's coming to the parliament, when it's coming to writing for the want. Yes, they are being stifled from the government. Everybody know that. But what the person is asking for, and I agree, because it have MPs that does it, which is to physically come out, mobilize, and support their people. That is what they're talking about.
Yeah, I hear that. Let me tell you something. Unless all the people who went Kamala Persad was the Prime Minister of this country and was in government, unless everybody dead, you see that notion, and there's a new set of people talking now, that notion I want to totally I still remember that. Of this country. There are places in this country that you never see good road, you never get water, light. The place was running good. You have seen development and things taking place but never took place in the country before. And the same people who voted for Kamala Persad successor, you see them running tires, and you see them coming and protesting, and they didn't have no MP, no opposition. people come and lead protests now. I remember when I had a protest on the highway there for the Syrian hospital. How much of them come out and supported it? You know what's taking place in the hospital, all them Syrian them dying and all kind of things. Where they get proper tribe and Christian for. With them, then all of them, so you see my notion, we always like to look for excuse to blame something for our own downfall. Because we cannot tell it, and we always want somebody else to come and do something for we when we supposed to do it. Let's say big mouth one from the bamboo day. We always have to come out and talk and things. The Bella Guardboot where they come in and robbing people inside it. He was hugging up Rowley and kissing Rowley and whining with Rowley. I know what else he might be doing with Rowley. And then, watch him now, listen to him now. Where did he protest that he protesting now? When he was hugging up Rowley hand and walking through the streets of Port of Spain. The next one from Castlefield, the goatman. He got robbed, he got all kind of thing inside the house there. He was every Monday morning. Kamla this and Kamla that and Kamla. Where he now? Where the protest he supposed to be holding when he was holding Rowley hand and running through the streets of Port of Spain to say, Mama guy, we had to get you out of the government. And now they want Kamla to come and move protest with them. Very clearly, when these people are now hiding, they were hiding behind the white skirt and the children on the way for somebody to come and do what they're supposed to do. If I need to protest, I alone would come and protest. Don't stand up and do what I have to do. Me, I want nobody come and sing and look for no excuse. So that notion is dismissed by. I close this talk. They got upset this morning. Let me come and do the protest. So see what I'm running there and hugging them up and singing. So you must sit down and tell her, hey, I cannot raise price. And you raise it 5 times. And all you can protest. Why you let me come out and protest? You cannot raise price 1 time. See all them not inside and saying, oh, we have to send me children to school and we can't afford. They would have come out. There's such a weak yellow belly people living in this country. And all they like to do is to look for blame and look for excuse for the incompetence that they're facing. So now blame the MP. They want Mary Parada to come and take. Let me tell you, take a drive from Irie Village, so you at the link of it, to Maya Road, on the Naparima Maya Road main road. The worst condition that road was ever been in. You see anybody protest on that main road? Drive through Barracourt, drive through Williamsville, drive through, Lucilla Canning on them roads and them. It's the worst it has ever been in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Where they burning the tires, where they blocking the road, where they protesting, no way. Let's imagine, Trinidad is 3/4 is flooded every week with water all over the place. And they come and they're telling the population here what? The dam under the reserve capacity. So where rain falling only around the dam, not going in the water, only again water. In the rainy season, only again water. Nobody is burning that, nobody is protesting. They want to carry Padarat and all of them to come out and pick up them don't kind of protest against the government. Well, just take all the testing. Because when already tested good, when already even a better life, it wasn't good enough. All the old people now make complaining was against the lady. The lady tried to tell him, not in the water for all you, but I was too ungrateful. So I totally support. They come out and do nothing for them. Let us sit down and take it. And let me tell you something. Who wants CNN to come back and govern the country for the next 5 years? I have no problem for that. Let it come and govern the country. You see this hypocrite, such a nasty people come in this country, they deserve about 20 more years of Rowley before they go wake up and understand. Hear what? We have to try to come out of it noticeness that we like to always blame somebody for and make this place a better place, get rid of PNM and support the UNC to bring back good governance to the country and let we move forward as a people and as a country.
But if you're already saying that they are that they belly yellow and all those various things, meaning they don't have that fight, meaning here it is, all they don't have to do that, all they supposed to know better, here it is, just jot back. Is it that technically it comes there like you're throwing the flag because it means they don't have the fight, it means that they just would not go out there and support or vote or so is it that you're saying well the PNM because of the the people yellow belliness when it comes to the advantage that the PNM going and win the next election?
That's what. Not PNM vote for not voting for PNM. The only thing that would do is the vote. The ones that vote for vote PNM. The ones that are not voting against what is taking place in the country, they won't vote for UNC, but they would not vote. But let me tell you something. You feel Rowley supposed to be governing this country for 10 years? The first 2 years, Rowley was Prime Minister. This country is supposed to shut down. This country is supposed to be in flames. This country is supposed to be chaos. And he's supposed to call an election and promote a government because of the policies and nastiness that he was doing. You go on and give him 5 years and then you got a 10-year period. And then people staying on and taking all that. You get places where you never saw people that get robbed and rape and home invasion and things, all these things happening. But you know what? They're waiting until it comes knocking on the door, but then to come and look to blame somebody else, one country. Let's see one PNM minister or thing come to support or say, hey, crime bad in the country. Everybody was in the country. And everybody accepted that. I wasn't a wake-up call for people to understand, but wait now. This is not Trinidad and Tobago. This is not a PNM or a UNC person. This is not Trinidad and Tobago. There's something so brutal happened to them. And not a representative from the government didn't have a little bit of shame in their mind. They say, let me just come out and at least show my face for bad mind's sake. And all of them watch that. And nobody realized that, hey, that just goes to show that these people don't care about nobody in this country. All you could get killed, all you could get murdered, all you could get war, they want in this country. PNM don't care nothing about what's going on in the country. All they care about is themselves, their finances, and how much money they could fill for the country. And
thank you.
Wasn't good enough for that. So the people now will vote. Yes, they will go and vote UNC. But what they're supposed to do more is to see exactly what they call and talk about. They want to see the members come out and vote placard. No. No member didn't supposed to come out because no member didn't vote to be opposition. They vote to be in the government. So you come like you lose a race, you win the gold medal, you win the silver. So nobody want to see your picture no way. Nobody want to hear about you. You now, as the people of the country, supposed to come and say, hey, I don't care about who in opposition and things. This is what you promised me. You're not the Prime Minister for PNM. You're not the Prime Minister for the PNM country. You're the Prime Minister for Trinidad and Tobago. And I see that you're supposed to be providing me with these.
No, but if the people, Barapo, was doing all what you're saying there, Rowley and this PNM government would not have been in power right now. So is it that you're telling us we lose before we start? Because I will technically, you're stating that to me. I know Lennox Smith and go understand it different because again, it's an election year and I know all election is about a fight. When I watch in America, I watch the Democrats, the Republicans and whoever, and you're actually seeing that fight. You're seeing that fight from Donald Trump. You're seeing that fight from Kamala Harris. You're seeing that fight from the different governors from the various states and all those various things. So again, yeah.
About 80% of the UNC voters and supporters will sit down and look at the reply for opposition. I can tell you, but 90% of them don't listen to any of the Monday night forum because they'll come on the same program and ask, so what plans they have? How they going to grow the economy? How they going to get money now to fix all this thing we come up with and all these kind of things? Because they do, the feel accustomed just sitting in a rum shop and hearing stupid talk, guys, and that's why so much of the PNM supporters always remain so illiterate. They don't know what's betterment. They don't know that what they deserve as a people in a country. They don't know that, hey, 10 years today, I start with 0. from now, I suppose at least at 10 or 20. I can't be with 0 again. But I see the mentality of the PNM people. They don't care nothing from nothing, leave nothing. So they come with nothing, they have nothing, and they would leave nothing. So it don't matter about betterment of future or children education or leaving a better world for better country for the future generation. Them know that how little live today, they dead today and die today. That's why so much of them young fellas, them get still and it have no effect on the environment where they live in and thing. It's just like, oh God, well, my boy get killed yesterday to have a big wake and flip music and all kind of thing. And then you see tomorrow mother normal, father normal, and it's like that. But in a place where people want betterment and goodness in their life, when you lose that child, that takes a void away from your whole community. You miss that, you want that, you grieve for that. And that's the difference with PNM and UNC. But the problem is, we like to complain a little too much for the things that we didn't suppose to be complaining.
I really had to go now. We really had to go now. Have a lot of other people. Thank you. Lennox Smith, I need to engage you. In that conversation there, do you believe that we are just continue rehashing the things that we already know on some grounds or if it go? And we need to start to look to do things a little different than to continue like saying, well, the people can come out, so leave it so. They ain't get any message. So them stop it themselves want to go listen here, or the stop it wanna. Should we not be the ones to actually find ways and means to get that message to the people? I don't know. I'm just asking.
It's obvious to be proactive. If it is that information is crucial, the dissemination thereof by persons who are in the know, like ourselves, for example, studying this issue, and of course gathering the material, packaging it in a particular way so that it is acceptable and can be easily assimilated in order to generate a particular type of action, then we have a duty and responsibility to find ways and means. The fact that we are operating right now demonstrates that. The fact that we have observers, Mikey created that. The fact that we have corridor transformation almost every night demonstrates that as well. So, and if there is a need for more, having of course engaged in these, what I consider to be this information dissemination elements or entities or mechanisms, then we need to do that. But I want to take away from the conversation that the mass protests would have, of course, caused a government to crumble in the context of the history of Trinidad and Tobago. No! The NAR had the most protests than any other government, and the administration, in spite of the fact they even had a coup, attempted coup, but it went on until 1991, when was of course the appropriate time for the constitutionally appointed time for the election to take place. Even under the UNC, the PNM tried its best. You remember we had section 34. We had, of course, the email gate fiasco. All of that. Yes, and the PNM did its best, and they were not they did not succeed in triggering an early election, but it has its role, I must say. But it did not trigger an early election, and we, in this dispensation under Rowley, we had pushback 1, 2, 3, 4, if not better, if not more potent than even that which Rowley and the trade union was backing them as well at the time. We had more people in our pushback 1 and 2 than any one of them. But we have not been able to achieve the ultimate objective of causing an early election.
Hold 1 minute, Lennox Smith. We have a caller. Go ahead, caller. Pleasant good morning to you.
Sorry about that. Go ahead, caller. I'll give way.
In the going for this morning.
History does not show that at all.
Yes, Lennox. Oh, I know you have plenty to say, because this country, I don't know, not like that, I learn to talk Spanish, friend. That's all kind of thing. Because these people, like, they have no understanding. And therefore, as usual, they're the top of the class. You know, I say, sometimes you have people that they're crazy, they have mental illness, or they might have Down syndrome. No thing to these offense to these people. Or we had COVID, right? These are like COVID and all this kind of like is a disease. We have to find a name, a brand, or whatever it is for these people in this country, because they have to be suffering from some kind of disease. Yeah, because after all these years, as Mark said, they still want somebody to come out and protest for them. They always want somebody to do something for them. And as I have said already, the only reason why the people in this country have to be going through what they're going through for the past 9 or 10 years is because the people did nothing. And the same people who were here when Kamala was in government, is the same people who were here when Rowley was in government. But it's when you see PLM is in government, they can do them what they want, when they want, how they want. They don't ever protest Rowley because you call it too high and put it in a pan. They keep them quiet. When Kamala will come and give them her glasses and say, look to see better. I don't understand why the people in this country, they don't seem to like themselves. They don't like the country. They like treatment. They like a woman that have a man that speaks to them morning, noon, and night, to them like doormat, like dog, total disrespect, and they would not leave. I love him. That's what they're saying. That is the attitude, the mentality of the people in this country. You understand? So you want to tell me, I hear some of them saying, Kamala, Rowley must go with Kamala in the answer. This is the answer. Answer. Huh? Or you see what I'm telling them? They so accustomed to bullying. They so accustomed to low life. They so accustomed to people that have no class, no respect, no dignity. That Kamala Prasad is too good for them. They're ready for that kind of politics, you understand? They're not ready to be treated like human beings. They're not ready to be respected. They're not ready to have good governance. Yeah? They're not ready to know that the children, they are entitled to proper education. In the school and right in the school detained. They are not entitled to that. Our children and all of them ministers' children, they're entitled to the best everything, and these children ain't entitled to nothing. The problem with these people in this country is because they are such a low life, and the ones who go the better is good, ones who want a better country want to live better. So you know all this. When I talk, who the carpet for them draw the string. You understand what I'm not talking about, or to everybody? Because we have good people who fighting a fight day after day to see make this country better. And we have the ones day after day, they're in the gutter, PLM have them in the gutter, and they want to stay in the gutter. And the point is this, they're looking to see all who they can pull down in the gutter with them. And let me tell you, listen, the majority has to fight the good fight. You have to be determined. And let me tell you this, I am listening to the debate on the thing between Palestine and everything else. And I listen, I like to know what's going on. When you hear these MPs from the government side, you just think to me that disrespectful, they have no respect. It's just a bullshit high sentence. You listen up in a parliament with a Chris and telling me, or your government do this, and all your government do that, and the PLF, what's going on? Some of them are just lying. All of them can go on rickety, because all of them making up stories, or they're looking at me in my face and telling me, or they do this for 10 years, or they do that, and your government this, and your government, all this is school, all this is everybody, all you're talking to is Mr. Boris. We know the truth, we were living here, we experienced it, And what is the biggest disaster that ever happened to this country? You understand? And it's because the people who they don't like goodness and kindness, they like bully and disrespect. They keep quiet when Rowley and when you look at it, I am seeing the other day a police car with a false number plate went and kidnapped a man, and the man they find him there in a two-foot grave. Then yesterday, anyway, a police car went to single the whole of some place. All here we wrong, not harm. And the problem is the people who want to live better, the people who live better, the people who have ambition, the people who want peace in their life, goodness in their life, respect in their life, prosperity in their life, we have to live around among these criminals. Among the criminals, call them government ministers and the things. But let me tell you this now, you better go and make sure your name register and come out and vote here, because, as I said, we don't have all the majority to fight. Because regardless of what, they have given up position. And let me tell you now, the PNM and the cohort, the brotherhood and sisterhood are wrongdoers. They have an attitude. They have an attitude that they are brave and bold and strong. And they come to bully all of them, killing and bullying. And they come to tell you things. What you know is not true, but they come with confidence. And the people can't see. Nobody should have to have saying, nobody should have to tell nobody who is supposed to. Tell you seen the mirror? Tell me what day in this country they didn't have a murder. Tell me what day didn't have a murder. Tell me what day didn't have a home invasion. Tell me what day didn't have a robbery. Tell me what day in this country was happy and peaceful and blessed under this PNM government. Yes? Because when you look at it, these people, they don't want to suffer. They don't want to better.
Thank you.
Let me tell you now. Let me tell you this now. You see, me and my family and a lot of people I know, we had enough. We want to live better. And as I say, all you who wait in for somebody to do something for all you, to correct this thing, every person and their own butter. It's the responsibility of every right thinking citizen to get up and fight. Because they're still not trying to thing. They come out. They come out. The responsible for what's going on in this country. You and these lemons, many other people to come and I talk all day. Yes. Because you know it's only doing a good job and people are constantly telling who calling and making sense. Continue calling, because trust me, we have to fight. We have to fight, and the reason why we shouldn't have to fight so hard. We shouldn't have to fight so hard. But let me trace this up. We have to fight really hard because there are some people out there, as I tell you, to find a name for the disease, the PNM disease that they have. You understand? But we have to find the cure for that and do something about it. But God is great. We praying the present God, we walking behind it. Because trust me, with God, all things are possible. And let me tell you this. And the UNC is going to form the next government in the name of Jesus. I'm blessed. Have a great day and blessings, fellas.
Thank you very much. Say again, a pleasant good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. A pleasant good morning to the wider Caribbean that are locked on to us and guile the Caribbean. Welcome to the Ground Report program. I'm yours truly, the Pitbull of Radio. On the top dates, that's Lennox Smith. The big word man. And maybe joining us in a bit will be none other than Michael Kerr. It's a program that discusses current affairs. It's a program at this point in time. Like for instance, we had an instance in Trinidad and Tobago here in bullying. Olon Kole will get it down now. The bullying whereby a child take, a 15-year-old take his life based on bullying. And what's going on in the school. It's facts. To you in the wider Caribbean, it is facts that are going on in our parliament. We have a government led by Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. They are there 9 years now. They spend nearly $1 trillion and they have nothing to show. And in having nothing to show, all they can use is race card, try to separate Indian from African. All they can do is go back in the past and mention this in the past and that in the past and this in the past and that in the past. They have nothing to campaign on while our hospitals People can't get beds at our hospitals. The public pharmacies, people can't get their medication. Pensioners who may only get about a 3,500 TT, 3,000 TT. They have tablets to buy, heart tablets and various tablets to buy. They may cost them about $2,500, $3,000. The whole pension. We have a budget when it coming to the health about kind of $6-7 billion. We have a government that borrow almost $100 billion. They're just borrowing money. Our roads is in a mess. Our national security services in a mess. You all sees it. Every day somebody dies in this country. We have a government that now coming to promise us after 9 years. Give us the next 5 years and we will get you out of bondage. We're going to make sure the hospital's in order. So you that now listening or for the first time are part of the ground report, we have surgeries back up where people need live surgeries. Who maybe had to move a kidney, who maybe have a heart surgery, all of that. And you're getting a date for a year, 2 years to do that surgery in this country, Trinidad and Tobago. A one-time rich country, a one-time admired country by all of you within the Caribbean. We get a vagabond of a prime minister, a political piper, pranger, that he and his finance minister selling out our country, selling it out, piping it out, spranging it out politically. We have a government that are lying. We have a government told us that they will not come with no property tax. And hitting with property tax, although in building our properties, we pay our VAT on every item we use to build our properties. We have a government that giving our properties value, but we never see our evaluator come in our property to really and truly give you what is the value of our property. We have a government leave out the business sector, the business people not paying property tax for their businesses. Oh my God. Siphoning money from the poor. We have a government where 4 divers died under their watch. They spent over $30 million on inquiries, and the divers and them that died, family members, ain't get 1 cent. Understand that. We have a government now come with a new system. Voting, Lennox Smith, what is the new system the government come with? The voting machine that Mikey K talk about, that are going to pay $10 million. And it's to do what? So all the talk, Barapa talking, or everybody talking. Why? Why? Right now, we need the people to come out and be rebels in a good way. Like how Guyana people was rebels in a good way. And Granger them tried to stay there. Because here why? With a fair elections, the PNM government would not remain in power. But why? They are going and thief the next general elections. No institution, independent institution in Trinidad and Tobago are not under the scave or not under the control of the government. Our president is a PNM. She's here to state. The head of the police service, that wasting time, she was appointed by the same government, and they could move on and put somebody else if they want. Everything they're in control of. They're in control of Central Bank. They're in control of the EBC. All independent institutions, they are in control of. Look, they're putting it to us now. They come with a new voting electrical. Lennox Smith, explain that now to the wider Caribbean and to the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Electoral voting system that we are yet to get comprehensive explanation of. So I don't want to be preemptive, but certainly we are investigating what does that mean. A general statement full of cliches, full of language that the ordinary person would not be able to decipher at this point in time, but tantamount to some kind of electrical, or should I say electronic voting that we are monitoring very, very assiduously. Yeah.
Nice. And besides that, one more thing before we go to the lines, Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean. For we take our diagnosis of how we sick, or if we sick, and if what we sick with, and if we will need a surgery in order to help us. Well, you know, we have to wait for that too. Take our diagnosis of our ailment. You again had to wait 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, just to find out what is your problem. In order, if you have a surgery to do it, and when you find out what is your problem, you have to wait a year, 2 years to get the surgery to fix your problem. Under this government. Under this government. And yet still in this country, it are people still waiting after 9 years, they're going on 10, and believe that them go do something. They must have the energy sector of this country. We kind of get US dollars. Our foreign exchange earner was our refinery, Petrotrin. Now we spending millions of US in order to import what we was creating. Gas, diesel, bitumen. Look at the things we was creating. Whether it be super gas, premium gas, jet fuel. All of that little Trinidad and Tobago was producing. And with the snap of a finger, a bald-head, dotish political piping prime minister, a spranger, because they're selling out everything. And a finance minister who is not a naturalized Trinidad and Tobagonian. He's from Antigua, on Antigua, naturalized Trinidadian. Just doing what we want here. Lines open. Morning caller. We'll get a hint of what the program is about. So again, welcome to the Ground Report. Next caller. Oh boy. The lines are open. Next caller. All you calling at the same time. Go ahead. Let me only see the numbers. What's your thoughts? What's on your front burner? What's supposed to make news that not making news? Home invasions in a mess in our country. 3 days last thing, the farmers and them can't get arrested. A man plant down the panty whole garden of pumpkin. Next day he come back. They just leave one pumpkin for he and his family to cook. All gone. Whether it's bygone, same thing. Lime, same thing. People thieving down to people planting and green fig. Yeah? Let me go to the lines, yes? Morning caller, make it short and sweet. What's your contribution on the Ground Report?
Thank you so very much. Andy, I want to give you the good news first. Andy, the way how you bring across the message with Trump and Kamala, I want to commend you highly. You have a very high IQ, and I commend you for that. People can't see that, you know. Kamala. But they don't understand.
Right. Let me stay with Trinidad at this point in time. Yes.
And you put good news. The second point, Andy, Woodbrook and for why all you so disrespectful to this program. If other people want to call, this is the Woodbrook and Barak for sure. Come on. Shucks, man.
Next caller. Both Woodbrook and Barpo makes very good contribution. It's just, and yes, they had to try to really and truly make it to short and sweet because many people really and truly are calling in. Let's go to the lines. Morning caller, where you calling from? Let us know where you're calling from. And what's your contribution on the Ground Report this morning?
Yes, sir. This is Tobago here.
Go ahead, Tobago.
No, Camilla keep calling on the people to come out. Yes, she does still come out and fight. She does bring the message to us and for us to come out and save our country, save our island, save ourselves. No, we're missing the point of this thing, you know. No, we want to get unity. We want unity. If all them unions join together and becomes one tree, this country could close down and we demand what we want. We can't demand what we want. But we always call it on the leader of the opposition to come out. It's the union. All over the world, the union bringing out the people. It's not the opposite, the union. Right? And the union is not coming out. They're not coming together and come out first. Just imagine. The people paying union dues. And they have to pay property tax and the union still not getting up for them. What you paying dues for if they're not supporting you? They have to support you. Your cry is them cry. Is you having them empowered because it's your money they're taking when you're working. They're allowing everything to close down. They're not putting up a fight. Why they're not putting up a fight for poor people? What? The money government is one? Man, I have to look at our own self now. We have to look at our own self. The union is the one that has us in this right now because they're silent. They're silent and everything. It's not the opposition leader. When them come out, she is the one to keep the protection of the country because sometimes the country flop. And she had to be the one to stand up to hold the country till the whole election. What are you talking about? Camilla, it's not Camilla. It's we and the union is the problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh boy, oh boy. 225, let me give you all those numbers. 225-6644. That's 225-6644. 239-5120. 239-5120. Or give us a WhatsApp call or send a WhatsApp voice note at 366-3053. 366-3053. What's your contribution on the #1 program in Trinidad and Tobago, the Ground Report, this morning?
Because we go until 10 o'clock. So those of you who had to make your way out, I know that yesterday I was very intrigued by some people saying that you give me an extra hour to be in bed, so it means that therefore people are waiting, knowing full well that this is their morning cup of coffee, and of course that is what gives them the effervescence to, of course, last year yesterday, and wait, of course, for the next day for the ground report. Just to conclude what I was saying about the crowd and the mass protests and so on over the history of elections or governments in this country, from the NAR, go right back, the NAR being, of course, the most bombarded as far as that is concerned, but of course orchestrated by the then opposition PNM. They had the worst. But the point I was making is that the government of the day still held on to office until the constitutionally due date for the elections to be held in those administrations. But all of those protests, including, I expect, those that have been organized under the present administration, whether it be between 2015 to 2020 and between 2020 to now, all of them contributed to the demise of the administration. It happened, of course, under the UNC, it happened, of course, under the NAR, and of course, I expect it to be happening under the PNM as well. So the quantum or the intensity, yes, we could always argue it should be more people should come out, etc. But the fact is that there was a constant procession of protests, so whether it be pushback, whether it be the trade unions, whether it be, of course, in recent times we found a way to deliver letters and so on, and that in itself demonstrates a certain amount of protest and what is going to happen now. And of course, we being so late on, should I say, taking all this time on social and of course traditional media, because we are on Gael Caribbean, all of that would contribute and clearly to the reduction and the consciousness of the people that the PNM is toxic, it is evil, wicked, diabolical, and ought not to be in office. All of the issues raised by Andy clearly are real issues that, of course, this government has shown its incompetence, impotence, and vindictiveness, for want of a better term, notwithstanding, towards, of course, making certain that the people understand that not only do they have a challenge on their hands, but that the PNM is simply unfit to be in government under Keith Christopher Rowley or anybody else for that matter. So I thought I should conclude that.
Go ahead, caller.
President, good morning.
Good morning. Where are you calling from, and what's your contribution on the ground report this morning? Yeah, but forget them. You go ahead and make your contribution. Let's keep it, yes, you go ahead and make yours.
A lot of things that the trade minister, which is Paula Gopi School, talk about the government keep food prices down. That is far from the truth. Because every day you go in the groceries at different price, especially the Chinese and them. They rob you blindly. So, I mean, these lies and deception and things, people have to get over that and it gets more serious. And we have to try our utmost best to try and shut down this country. I think we might get some results by doing so. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Labre. Oh boy, let's continue. Who else on the line? Nice. Go ahead, caller. Oh, lost him. Oh boy, well, by the meanwhile, I will play some voice notes. Yes. Let me play some voice notes. Yeah, because we have people on voice notes. And for those of you that look on to us on a dial, our program starts at 6 a.m. in the morning. So you could always get the program, the ground report, because we go from 6 to 10, when it ends here in Nawangala at 10 o'clock. You could always get us on Real Media TT on Facebook, Real Media TT on YouTube. You could also get us on Corridor Transformation on YouTube, Lavanti on Facebook, on the Workers' Right platform. You can get the ground report program. It's nice to have you all up and running early, joining us early. Let's go to the lines. Morning caller, where you calling from? What's your contribution on the ground report this morning?
Good morning, I'm calling from over. That's the union, they dealt with the property tax issue. They was in front of the BIR office and they tear up the property tax papers, they put it in a dustbin and they lighted a fire. And they lighted up pictures on a conference. Today, they'll be having a press conference at 10 a.m. via the OWTU Facebook page concerning the statement that Stuart Young made in Parliament. So that is what we'll be taking today.
Right, but that statement, so sir, that statement that Stuart Young made in Parliament is that the OWTU bring a lot of falsified papers. That is jail thing. That's supposed to be lockup thing. And what people are asking is, why the wait, if they know that, why the wait so long and wait till the election time to talk all of that? And then people wondering too, look how long they talk that, and why, if it is a damning statement like that are being made against Roger and the OWTU, how have they not, with immediate effect, shoot down or talk down or put the government or Stuart Young to lie on the statements that they are making? Would you in any way just make us understand? I know you are not the union leader or However, we don't know, but you know, would you be able to just give us an idea?
Well, my understanding is that the challenge to them to come outside and make the statement, and that will provide them to sue him or whatever, and clear the name. They challenge them to come out and make that statement.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Some religious and all that.
Kola, how is your...
Go ahead.
How would you reconcile the fact that OWTU and therefore Patriotic was the preferred bidder with a lot of fanfare and announcement and for the black man to own the commanding heights of the economy at one point in time? What do you think happened between then and now? Because we know they didn't eventually get it by the 2020 general elections. What has happened? Why is the government taking this position? And I'm saying so because we could see a clear bias and their preference with respect to the AV drilling and the handsome reward that, in spite of the fact that the fake oil was part and parcel of that scenario, but yet still they got more contracts and they got money consequential of a so-called arbitration award. Why has the OWTU and Patriotic not as fortunate as, let's say, AV drilling?
What I understand is that the Prime Minister has been disingenuous. Because how you could have a document in your hand in 2020 saying that you're ready to sign, the advisor and give you a document, you're ready to sign Patriotic to give them the refinery, and after the election they say something wrong with the document and all that. I mean, that is a child going primary school could find something wrong with that, you know, and that shows that he's disingenuous and that is unfair. All right, that is my opinion.
But could I, with my grassroots instincts, tell you what is the difference? Hold on 1 minute, Lennox. Would I be able to tell you and Lennox Smith, with my grassroots instincts, because Lennox Smith asked a good question, what's the difference between then and now? My grassroots instincts tell me that the hug up, the love up, the liking the union, wanting to give the union, hey, as Imbert say, we giving all the business. Only the PNM could do that and all those various things. Back then, the Petrotrin didn't mash up yet. It's still the workers to vote. Now, the Petrotrin mash up. It done gone. The union have no power. They lost their power with the closure of Petrotrin and the refinery and thing. The masses they lost. So now they are nobodies. They don't realize too that they compromise themselves to a situation too, the union did, whereby their own membership don't have that confidence in them. So hence the reason, and the PNM knows that. That's just my grassroots instincts. And the PNM knows that, so they just working the market accordingly.
That grassroots intuition is well placed, because the leadership of the OWT really had floundered and has missed the ball in more ways than one, having of course hitched the wagon to the PNM even before the 2015 general elections, and now this is the outcome. It's very unfortunate, but it's the reality. Kola, I don't know if you have any comment that you want to make on it.
Anything more?
Union takes advice from the membership, and the membership tell them, well, look, let me go with this because it's an opportunity for them to come back and get back at the work. They had to go with it. Right. So it's not just the union alone. They had to take what the membership say. You understand? So it's all that they had to look at. Plus the union. Remember the union put in a bid, right? And they had bid over 26 companies and all. They was the only national company to take the chance and everything else, right? No other company didn't care about African man or care about the grassroots. They take the chance, right? And they was brave enough to put up a bid. So we had to realize all that what they have done in terms of that. In terms of taking
in addition to not only certifying that the bid was good then, but also in his statement to close down Petrotrin and fragment it as they did, he did say that OWTU, if they wanted, so really the government wasn't, according to that statement, wasn't really interested. If they wanted, it will be given to them on favorable conditions. The conditions were neither favorable nor the process was salubrious for OWTU. A lot of expense, I'm sure, was engaged, and now, of course, it turns out to be zero because they're now talking fake documents.
the minister put together a bid, right? And what I can see, the unions, there was good stewardship in terms of keeping the money and protecting the money and all that, right? So they was able to bid. Because the government could have said, we give you a chance, and they didn't have no money. What do you do with the people's money? But they just shocked the government to show that they had the money to bid for the refinery.
Yes.
So we had to look at all that. Apart from within recent times here, when they bid again, it appears, by understanding is that the government only gave them a few hours, 3 hours to visit the refinery and all that. And they give the other bidders a whole day, 2 days and 3 days. So it's a lot of things that happen that then get explained to the public. But I could explain that because I hear and what's happening and all that, you know.
Yeah.
So it's all that difficulty that they're going through. They're really fighting for Trinidad because they get this refinery. You know, they're fighting to the point, you know, that they're doing the best in terms of getting this refinery for the people to become owners of the refinery in terms of shares and all that. And they say they're no big business to gain that. That is the people thing. Yeah. So that is why I understand of it.
But it is clear the government has been dishonest, they have been deceptive, and they never intended to give the OWTU the oil refinery. Otherwise, they would have found ways, and means just as how they were very lenient with AV drilling. It's clear, so they have fallen out of favor.
My thoughts on that again is, you don't sleep in bed with the devil and expect him to turn around and do what he tell you that he go do. Come on, man. Big men like that.
Yeah,
get that chain up.
It's a leadership, debacle, frankly. And of course, they will have to deal with the internal issues. But it's unfortunate that would have happened because a lot of the union's money would have been expended on that and preparing proposal, doing the research, and of course putting the entire package together to meet, of course, that committee that was supposed to be examining all of these bids, and then it has turned out to be zero in more ways than one. Boy, oh boy, I could well imagine how they are feeling.
Government nearly in 10 years now, and everything that done for us so far turned out to be zero. Yeah. Them really expected that whatever they're going to do with that government, with this government, or anybody who thinking about doing business with this government, they expect to bear fruit. The only people bearing fruits with this government is the people
common sense that get that. Yeah. Because really, actually, what Rowley and them clearly has achieved is union busting. They have busted up the most powerful at one time trade union in the country, very influential, etc. And they have reduced them, of course, to almost what I consider to be a mongrel.
Apala, let me take this call. Go ahead, Paul.
Yes. Good morning, but I keep repeating and all the accepting my condolences to the student who has gone to the great beyond. And that comes back to this current government and the PNM who has basically normalized bullying. You remember there was a prime minister by the name of Patrick Manning. What he said then, he's a bully, you can't deal with him, he's a bully in the China shop. And who was that? That is what he said about the current prime minister, right? And what did Manning did? Nothing. He appointed him back to fight the San Fernando and the San Diego Martin East. So that tells you, because the ministers in this current government, the cabinet ministers, behave just like him. Even to some extent, the speaker behaves in that sort of manner in parliament. You see how she
You are saying to some extent. I am saying Miss Anisette George is a bully. She's a bully. She and Lennox Smith always tell me that nobody can tell me which witch I mean, but she's a witch.
That's not been done that way. A little bit of Christianity in me, and a big man above go take care after them. So that is one issue. So they have normalized bullying. Every minister, you look at the debate, they basically said nothing for an hour and a half. The same thing as the short man. He bullied us for 5 hours, not doing anything, and we had to sit and listen to him. No, the other thing is, I want to talk is a serious thing. I see they're going after Lawrence Dupre, even though he has gone to the great beyond. They are still continuing with the Ferguson issue. Remember there was a fat lady they called Marlene, and she has gone to the great beyond. They say if you acquire assets from
misbehavior in public office, there is a law, I believe, I can't remember the law, to go after that. So what we are waiting for? The charger under a PNM government charger with PNM police, because we know the police of the behavior seem to be aligned with the PNM. You understand? So that in itself tells me where the police service, and I want to agree with Barpo, about that man. This police service is complicit. You can't trust them. You remember, just before the day of policing, what was the day of policing for? Not a test?
Yes, that's true. Thank you.
Try something, remember? Have a test.
Thank you.
Not with the numbers. You facilitate all the activities in PNM. Remember, we know all of them already. They become
Last point, you have exactly 30 seconds. Go ahead, caller. All right, thank you so much. Let me take some voice notes here, quick. We play out some of those voice notes.
I like the discussion you and Lennox started with Trump and them. But according to Mr. Ramnarayan, I have family interest in America too. And I know Trump is worse than Rowley because he have about 91 charges coming up. And he's also a felon because...
Thank you. Next caller.
Lennox, if you follow the election, she is coming up with her own policy right now. She is making her own policies. She have her own policies. She have a way how to make the economy grow and everything. So follow the election. She have her own policies. She's making her own policies, because now she's the head of the party. Now she's the head of the party. So she's making her own policies just like Kamala. She's the head of the party and everybody follows. That's why she fired the last 5 people who didn't support she. Okay?
All right, next voice note. Let me run through the voice notes. Oh boy.
Hi, Rising Andy and Lennox. Andy, there is a video going around on social media which is stating that Rowley and Alfari is about to take the citizen money from their bank account. Have you guys heard anything about that, or could you speak on it? Also, Andy, I wanted to talk on last month it had 2 earthquakes within 24 hours. Right? This month, yesterday, we had 2 earthquakes within 6 hours. And people are busy talking about Trump and PDD and PNM. I'm not saying that is not important. Right? But people are not really looking at the bigger picture of what's really going on with this earth. Alright, so y'all just pay attention on what's going on aside from the politics and stay safe.
Nice. Lennox Smith, on one of the things that the lady mentioned about the government looking to go into the people's bank account, you know anything about that?
Well, no, I don't know of going into, What I know is that they have been getting information about people's bank account, and that has been, of course, expressed particularly during the exchange of that $100 bill from cotton to polymer. Remember, Stuart Young came out and said that one barber went and deposited $1 million. How the hell he knew that is because, of course, he would have been privy to information that was supposed to be personal and not disclosed to anybody. So from that perspective, I would not be surprised if through the FIU or through the banking friends, they are able, of course, to peep into people's bank account. And on the question of whether they are going to be taking out monies from people, except, of course, is the follow the money agenda or legislation that was touted a lot by, of course, Al-Rari when he was Attorney General. Maybe is that the caller is referring to.
Your feel is that, before I take some calls there, I want to complain about the Grandi bus. The Grandi bus. All you know we people and them in the Grandi area traveling in the bus, and you know, people besides that Trinidad and Tobago, the bus and them when rainfall they're leaking. Yeah, it's leaking, it's not coming on time, all them kind of thing. People have to be opening amber in the bus, the shelter while they're traveling.
That's all over, Andy. That's all over. San Fernando have been complaining, Arima have been complaining. So I know that you have a special interest in that Grandi area, but I want to say that it is a general feature of lateness, and of course the roadworthiness of these vehicles in terms of being able to, of course, shelter people from at least the rain and water.
But what's going on too is some of the drivers frightened of passengers too. Because what people send video to complain about, and I'm going to play a video here on a bus here, is that whether they're to the front of the bus, it have two people that will just stand up in front of them like the driver afraid the two people now. So you have to make your way from the front of the bus to go to the back of the bus. And not for nothing, the driver wouldn't tell them, hey, move from in front of the door, because they're supposed to be standing up there anyway. Move from the front of the door so people to the front could come out to the front and who to the back could go out to the back. So let's just play that video real quick.
That's a management issue and a security issue at the same time.
Yeah, so I'll just explain it. Yeah, so you see the two people there, just stand up by the door. Right, so it was asked to me to highlight it.
Okay, yeah, that's what we have to do so that it comes to the attention of the authorities.
So you see, that'll move from the front. Right, and I find it very unfortunate whereby the drivers and them will even self-encourage that there. You know, all the people block the driveway and all them things, because in Trinidad and Tobago now, you know, that people will rather not tell anybody anything, because if you tell somebody something, you don't know who might lash you, you don't know what fight you could end up in, you don't know who get up on the wrong side of the bed. So I think the PTSC bus drivers should indeed clear the way or clear the entrances of the bus and them to make sure people can come out.
If that is an issue, then and the drivers are intimidated or they have some kind of trepidation, some kind of fright, then there should be some security mechanism that the drivers could refer to make certain that the level of discipline in protection, of course, of those who are on board, because let's face it, the driver will be responsible for the safety and life of those that are on board until they reach their destination. The authorities should now be looking at some security system to engage and to make passengers, commuters adhere to the rules.
And well, that come like bullies again now. All of them taking up rowdy action, you know. So 3 bullies or 2 bullies stand up in front of the door of the bus. No body cap assault in front there. And if anybody will tell you anything,
It's a
we go cause some.
It's a
We go fight
pandemic
to
of bullyism, yeah.
Yeah. So the driver and all don't know. Hey, them look like they take bullying from the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley boy. You see me? Let me don't tell them that before they see the bully me while I driving and I crash the bus.
As you talk
So that
bully, did you have a look at the opposition leaders' impromptu press conference yesterday? I think she responded well to the attempted bully at, of course, in Belmont. Not where they normally will have their meetings. They had it indoor on this occasion, but normally they will have it, of course, on that street in Belmont, Piggott Corner. But they did have it. I'm sure one of the fear was that members of the
give me the story of it. Let me just give me the story there now. Let me just clean up this there. Nathaniel says anything he might call back and send a message. You see how my thing in game play? I'm going to stop calling the program.
Go ahead,
Nathaniel. Let's hear.
Good morning, Andy. Ground report, Lennox. Well, you know me. Love to respond to the freshwater Yankee Biden-Harris supporter. And I was here in one of his voice notes there, he now saying how the President of the United States doesn't legislate any laws and he has to go along with whatever
the Vice President.
The Congress passes as laws, right? And so that is true, but there's something called executive orders. And I'm very sure the Biden voter who sounds just like PNMIs down here, who are totally blind and biased by race and identity politics, right? And mainstream media propaganda. I'm sure he knows that. So the lame excuse that Biden and Harris uses about, they can't protect the border, the southern border, right? The southern border, because prevented the Republicans from passing the immigration bills or whatever, right? It's total utter BS. It is total utter BS because when Trump was in office, there was no need for any extra laws. You hear the Border Patrol saying it all the time. There are already sufficient laws in place to be able to seal and protect the border. Biden could sign an executive order today closing the southern border, right? He could also give sufficient funding and whatsoever to the Border Patrols and give them the authority that they had before. ICE, which is a particular law enforcement agency that deals with the criminal elements within the illegal immigrants population, to get rid to deport the gangsters and stuff like that, the dangerous gang members and gang leaders. ICE, that's an elite force which deals with those kind of hardcore criminals. Democrats are making ICE turn out to be, they're trying to make them look as though they are instead, that they are enemies of the state instead. So don't allow this. I'm saying don't allow, because I mean, oh gosh, the program is a free platform for people to voice their opinions or whatever. But this Biden voter, I tell you something wrong with that man, because at the end of the day, Trump does lie. Who lies more than Biden and Harris? The amount of lies Harris has been caught in making over and over again. Likewise with Biden, he want to talk about Trump lying. Trump ain't lie half of the amount of times that Biden and Harris lie. Andy, take a look at it again, right? Listen to the responses of the people who are criticizing you and Lennox for supporting Donald Trump as the strong leader he is, who will, to some extent, be able to pacify a lot of the conflicts around the world. I don't believe that he will solve everything. He's not God, but he will do far better than the Biden administration and the Democrats are doing. Right? Look at what they're saying.
they're talking about race. This is why I've been saying this over and over again. A lot of Trinidadians leave Trinidad with the same PNM mentality, even if they are UNC supporters, but they leave with the same PNM race mentality and they go away. And they live in Canada and they live in America, and they're still obsessed about race. So they put race over policies, they put race over performance. Because everyone knows that America was flourishing, was prospering under Donald Trump. Everyone knows that, right? The whole world knows that. The whole world doesn't only respect Trump because he's a strong leader, and they don't know if he will take drastic measures to punish those who come against America, It's not only our American allies, It's not only because of that. It is because of the economically friendly policies that the Trump administration had put in place. The cutting of taxes, right? The cutting of regulations. As I said in another voice note the other day, less government, more power to the people. That's what Republicans stand for, just like how UNC stands for that in Trinidad. But Trinidadians have an obsession with race, brother, and that needs to stop because you cannot be voting based on race. You need to vote based on policy and performance. So these people go away with the same mentality: race.
Oh boy, too long day, my brother. Oh, it have people like Barry Boudram is saying, because it have people like that, he is saying there that, let me just read one of the comments there. And they cut people off when they start talking about America, right? Something else he did say there. I hate to hear people talk about the US, them business. So I hate to hear people talking about the US business. Fix we business here, right? Technically saying, talk about we business here, fix we business here. Right, so let's continue the voice notes quick there. Let's play out some of those voice notes. And only make all those voice notes, please, a little shorter, please. Right, by all means, make it a little shorter so we can give everybody the opportunity and just keep it clean. As you say, we can tell you if it's a talk about Trinidad politics or America politics.
Kamala all the way. Mr. Lennox. The border is nobody coming through that border. I be by the border, I do trucks, I run trucks. I go by the border all the time in Laredo, Texas. I go there all the time by the border. Ain't nobody coming through the border. I talked to the border patrol and asked them. They said no. They don't know where you get that idea from. Yes, few people come through this. But I don't know what you get an idea from. I've been by the border, I'm a trucker, I've been all over the states. I've been there a couple times. Nothing they go like that. That's bullshit. Okay? All it's politic bullshit.
Right. Remember, we'll have to cut that. Watch the language. Remember, we are live on Guile, the Caribbean.
But to
please
be specific, and for clarity purposes, we didn't take one side or another. What we said is that Trump's border policy is different from that of Biden's. And therefore, that is a topical issue for electoral or election purposes in the United States in this presidential race. That is what we said. So to say that we took our position one way or another, no, I have not. What we said, however, is that Trump has demonstrated twice in office before that he clearly, compared to Biden, would have taken very strong stance against, of course, their foreign adversaries, or indeed even some of their friends, because we saw Germany and these other countries, European countries, were asked to pay their fair share of the security that cost the United States to, of course, provide to them. And that is the kind of situation that Trump found himself in and advocated, putting America first. Go ahead.
Nice. And I will, to this morning, I am not against Barry Boudram. I like Barry Boudram this morning. He said, talk about our border. Talk about our border. Look what's happening with our border. With them, Vinny and them. But everybody want to talk about Trump, this, that, or if it go. And at no point in time, Lennox Smith say he supports Trump. Or at no point in time, Andy Williams say he supports Trump. I out of America and they bacchanal. I on Trinidad and Tobago aspect.
Yeah, all we do, we make an observation from
exactly
from what is available to us, and of course, and in case of the person with the borders, are you saying that the thousands of persons that end up attempting to try to get into the United States doesn't exist? Is that what you're saying? I don't know, but Trump is saying that you have, of course, all kinds of elements, including, of course, subversive elements that in some instances have taken over part of New York and all of that. I don't know if that person is saying that we are wrong from the news reports that we are getting. We are not there, but certainly just as how you get information from Trinidad, we also get it from the United States.
Yes. But the difference in information, it look like if you support the Democrats, them go get them information. And if you support the Republicans, them go get them information. That is so similar with Trinidad.
So there's a division. There's a division. And that is what democracy is all about, true democracy. But based on policies and programs, not on race and other nuances that has no relevance to our daily lives and putting bread and food on the table.
But you're a joke. But you see the difference between across there and here. When you're getting information from a PNM person that supports the PNM, they can't get your information.
Yeah, boy.
All they can do is cuss you, bully you.
Yeah.
Get grumpy. I tell you about the past. So what about this one? How about that one? But when you ask a UNC person, somebody who supports the UNC, of information, you will get, Kamala Prasad says so, give laptops, raise pension twice, raise minimum wage. She's planning when she come back to raise it, not to $2, but to $5 and more. You know, that's the kind of intelligence. Yeah. You don't get the bullying and the bashing and the recklessness.
Yeah, and then you have the uncanny, they bring up the rear by calling the person who is not of their liking, let me put it that way, calling them fools and dotish and so on and so forth, because they want to beat into you their very skewed position, a position that nobody in the right mind will want to adhere to. So it's a set of mad people, frankly, that want to defend the indefensible.
So all who calling, all who get a chance, I'll take the call. Remember, we just have approximately 7 more minutes.
Yes,
so let me just finish off those voice notes there quick, because we will be locking off same time with the godly one, the Guile. We will be locking off. All right. Daniel, you'll have to make it short and sweet. Go ahead. Very short and sweet. You can read to finish off the voice notes. And move in front of the device. Go ahead. Very short and sweet.
Andy. Yes, Andy. Very short and sweet. I never.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Andy. I never said that you and Lennox support Donald Trump. I said you all agree that he is the person that could be able to deal with certain situations internationally and otherwise. I never said, I don't know if all are Democrats or Republicans or whatsoever. One more important thing. American politics affects the entire world. So those who are trying to protect Biden and Harris by saying, don't talk about American politics, failing to understand that whoever is the leader of America affects the entire world. That is it.
Yeah. No, that I concur. That everybody will have to accept as a fact.
Yeah, that's true. Let's get the next voice note quick. Wow. Come on, let me get them voice notes then going.
Let me tell you this. The amount of wrong things in this country, in case you don't know, Mr. PNM, I could talk for the whole day or talk 24/7, and I still don't cover.
Oh boy. They're calling. Oh boy. Short and sweet, caller. Short and sweet, please. Go ahead. Very short and sweet morning call. We take voice notes, but make it short and sweet. Go ahead.
Okay, so we talking about the OWTU yet to refute Young Lai story about fake documents.
Yes.
So it looks like it is a joint fib between OWTU and Young Lai. So how could $1.5 billion be asked to be paid? They agreed on a price and Patriotic had to pay that money? Or is it that all the other bidders had to pay $1.5 billion US? If you had to pay $1.5 billion dollars US in the bidding process. So know that Abdullah is silent, political party motion is silent. So is this another scheme to abort the bidding process? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right, let me get the next voice note on rolling there.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to report. The man from Tobago, I don't want to mix up the two Tobagonians' name. So I'll just say the person who talked about the unions, he is quite right. I think if we look back at all the demonstrations, beginning with the Black Power movement, it started off, the unions were the people involved really and truly into these big demonstrations. So that is where they have to put the emphasis on, right? To get
Andy, Lennox, Mikey, morning from New York. Trinidad and Tobago had no union again. Union is just bullshit now. All of them become a set of...
Right. All you have to watch the language of your message. Let's come clean. Don't use the SHI. No. Let me just come clean.
Yeah,
okay.
The derogatory, descriptive words. Eliminate that, please, as best as you can.
Yes. For a matter of fact, oh boy, time check, it's 2 minutes to the hour of 10 o'clock. So we had to wrap up in 2 minutes. So that's it for voice notes. That's it for calls. Lennox Smith, your closing comments. Remember, we have
comment is that I cannot overemphasize quickly how impressed I am with Kamala Prasad-Bissessa, her presentation and the use of things like quip and figurative language to describe the situation in the country and the government. I think was superlative. So it's a beautiful presentation, and of course it failed not to surprise us in that she presented, of course, a UNC budget, which we believe is a better budget. And then, of course, yesterday she was at it again when she said in no uncertain terms that Patrick Manning has said that, of course, a person who is a liar is a thief. And of course, why she was saying that throughout her presentation, she was referring, of course, to a situation where monies were allocated over $400 million to the office of the Prime Minister, ostensibly for paying UDICOT. But she also proved that in other documents presented in the Parliament with the budgetary documents, that they were either paid already or some other ministry would have been paying them. And she continued, of course, to say that Patrick Manning said that, of course, a liar is a thief. Of course, we would say here, what she really means is that, Rowley, you are a damn thief.
Nice. Trinidad and Tobago and all the Caribbean viewers. We are the Ground Report. I'm Andy Williams of Pitbull Radio. Lennox Smith will be on tomorrow. Please go from 6 a.m. on Real Media TT Facebook, Real Media TT on YouTube, and many other platforms.
People don't forget barbecue, Andy, barbecue. Don't forget barbecue. We continue, of course, to collect, yes. And
yes,
Mikey will be around to give you the details as to pick up points, etc. But we still have barbecue tickets on sale, $50 for chicken, and of course a veggie This is, of course, a patriot meal on Friday coming, so we needed to make our rounds, and the people who have their orders, of course. Andy, I know that I could give them my number, 337-6940, 337-6940. Could you give them yours and Mikey's number?
And Mikey own.
Yes.
366, for those of you that are interested in purchasing barbecue, 366-3053, 366-3053, or you can call Michael Kerr at 494-0938, 494-0938, right? So today I have some rounds to make to see how we can collect 1 or 2 tickets. So I look forward to your calls. Right, so until tomorrow morning, please God, don't forget the night corridor transformation, yes, with yours truly, Lennox Smith, and also don't forget later on today, the observers right here on the Gael channel, with yours truly, Michael Kerr, Mikey K. So until tomorrow morning, please God, yours truly on behalf of the Ground Report team, we are out of here.
Yes, indeed.
The Ground Report with Mikey K, Anthony Williams, and Lennox Smith.
UNC for a name. PNM must go. Tell them go. PNM must go. Everyone's coming out to bring about a change. I see young and old, we crying out for this. Yeah, want a government to drill policy, a government to do joke, a government to do fight we down, a government to does work, a government with integrity. Now look how they understand. A government in city and tea, now without the bullet man everybody. PNM must go. Tell them go. PNM must go. Hey, now everybody let's vote. Put them out. Vote them out.
Yes, people, of course, we have come to the end of another edition of the Ground Report. See you tomorrow morning from 6 o'clock. Don't forget, of course, we join Gael Caribbean from 8 to 10 o'clock, 2 hours. And then, of course, tonight, the corridor transformation, your host, Lennox Smith. And, of course, I understand you can look out for the observers as well that would come a little earlier. That being as it may, have a wonderful rest of the day. God bless. Bye-bye.
Tell them go. Now everybody let's vote. Put them out. Vote them out. They're only time to resign. Vote them out. Vote them out. When you see him waving bye-bye. Everything's selling out, and I'm working out again. It's only draw, they will wipe out we name. Yeah, we want a government to drill policy, a government to do joke, a government to do fight we down, a government to does work, a government with integrity. Now look how they understand. A government in city and tea, now without the bullet man everybody.